Hello.
I was just stretching. Need that sometimes. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever it is, wherever you are. And yeah, some places in the world it's late, but I'm not late because I started 5 seconds early. Brandon was there before you. Well, Iris, you have to set your alarm clock a little bit earlier. Good morning, Peter and Christine in here. Good morning, Christine. Danny T is also ready to go. And of course, the Farrellest of the housewives. Good morning to you, Farrell. Hello, Kim. Good morning. Irish, you changed your name back. You forgot an H. Good morning, Peanut. Peony of the Peaches. Yeah, it's time to get out of bed. I'll stay in bed with the baker for a few more minutes. Well, he's over exaggerating. It'll be a few more seconds and then he's ready to get out. Why do I start like that? Hey, Christine. Miss Luna, good morning. My little Texas Rose. But yeah, today will be an interesting day. There will be one rebuttal witness, as far as I know. For those of you who didn't watch it yesterday, she took the stand. She was credible, especially compared to her previous statements. I know some people in my comments have said that she wasn't credible, but it's not if you believe what have happened, but it's the way she tells the story, and I feel like the way she told the story was consistent with her previous statements. There might be you could argue that she's been lying all the way through. That might might well be, but at least she's kept to the same story, and to me that makes her credible. If it's a good explanation, that's a different story. Haley Wolf. And Carlene as well. But other than that, we had one more eyewitness yesterday. She was less credible. She seemed more like I won't say she was lying. I was more like she might have supplemented her own experiences with what she read or heard in the news. And what else did we have? We didn't have anything else yesterday. I was very disappointed with the cross from the state of Hannah. I would have gone way harder. I would have had her. I would have tried to goad her into being angry. Um, Maybe even tried to admit that. Well, she did admit that she didn't want to be there, but if you could get her to say, "Oh, I know it's wrong. I know I shouldn't have done it," I would have tried to do that. So, but again, everyone has their different style. But thought that the cross fell flat. Yeah, filling in the brain gaps, not because they are lacking of brain, but because, as I always say, the puzzle up there, the brain wants to fill it out. Good morning, K squared. Um, Yeah, she did a great job with her explanation. And more importantly, when they tried to impeach her with prior knowledge, she had an explanation for that. Because if we contrast her to the first witness who became very sassy and just kind of implied that the defense lied when they asked her about her prior statements or the police had written it down. The body cam video, even though the audio was super bad in that, the things you could hear was the same things she said. And of course, she has been watching those videos to make sure her story adds up. I'm not in doubt of it. But to me, that she seemed like a credible witness. But still, I believe she will be doing time. I think she's overcharged. I think she unalived a man who didn't need to be unalived. But the malice in the charges is what I have a problem with. But as the other days, I will be splitting you up with Dave. As you can see, Jamie hasn't showed up yet. She's probably been over at Dave's, partying all night, not sleeping, even though I said she should be at bed at 9. But that's how it is with new dads. They always want to be the fun dad. But no, Dave and I will be splitting you again today. And where was I going before I tried to make fun of Jamie? I should make fun of Jamie. She's gonna beat me again. I mean, she's gonna be unhappy. I said it. Why was I talking about Dave? I feel like the expert right now. I can't remember what I was talking about. Well, I have to go back. I think the other prosecutor would have gotten to her and thrown her off. I wanted to see, because the CERN reactor wouldn't have generated as much energy as that Karen on Karen fight, because you could see the Karen in her. She had two short things she said where I thought, oh, don't do that. Don't say that. Thank you for changing the last word so I understand it. And always, even if you don't agree with me or you do agree with me, please contribute by chatting away, because that makes it way more interesting to be sitting here and talking about a case. So, and Rumble has problems again. That's always nice. I don't. It looks like we're live, but I can't see it. It's so nice when you can't see your own streams. So hopefully no one is over there chatting at me and telling me something, because I can't see it. But yeah. Well, hello, Mr. Brandon. Iris, did you see Brandon came in after you? You weren't up that late. You were just saying you all are dueling the trial. Yeah, but I don't know where I was going with it. That's the problem, because well, I'm kind of stupid. So when I can trip myself up so much, I can't remember where I'm going with my own ramblings. I wanted to say something about when Dave is streaming today. It'll probably be the verdict watch. Oh my god, I'm getting old. Am I doing a new trial? Well, I'm gonna finish this one first, Christine. Then I'm gonna say I'm never gonna stream a trial again, because I'm gonna get angry about it was. Now I know. Thank you, Christine. You helped me out. When you go over today, because they're probably gonna do closings until until lunch, and when you get in with Dave in the afternoon, I don't think it's going to be a long stream. I think it's going to be a fast verdict in this one. So that's where I was going. Why can't I remember stuff like that? So thank you, Farrell, and thank you, Christine. You helped me out. I know. I'm stupid. Yeah, it's going to be a modern sitcom we're going to produce on YouTube, where Dave and I, there will be a lot of these faces. And Jamie will be running around in a meadow playing with Chloe the dog from the Karen Reed case, and Mr. Gutierrez from the Zachariah Anderson case. Oh, talking about the Zachariah Anderson case, I need my little banner, because Josie is doing great work with her new podcast, and the new Zachariah Anderson website is very, very great. Good morning, Jessica B. Didn't see you sneak in there. It was because I was lost in my own thoughts. You are doing a new trial this week, Christine. Do tell the crowd which trial you're gonna go, because maybe some of them want to go follow that. disappointing cross exam yesterday, and we didn't get the white crown prosecutor. Exactly, Bob Bill. And I know you have been leaning one way and have been that from the start, and I think that's way okay. But I'm glad to hear, because you have been leaning towards the guilty all the way through, that you too find the cross weak. Alan Walls, say hello to Mr. Vices, and thank you for stopping by and liking. Everything counts in the algorithm, but give my regards to Mr. Vices. Yeah, a fast verdict was what I was trying to go for. Do anyone believe the defendant was taught that you should draw your gun without intention to use it, only with finger on the trigger when you intend to use it? I think that's. I don't know if you did service, Mass, but that's something you're taught. You're taught do this and do that, and then you get heated, and then someone is throwing a rock at you, or you've been in a car accident, and you go right back to the small part of the brain where you just go into survival mode. It's not. It's not what the instructor told you 2 weeks ago in a nice, well lit classroom. When something is going pew pew, or someone is driving a car, or you think you are the new Butch Cassidy or someone, you forget all of these rules, but you think you followed them because you were told to follow them. Yo yo. Well, my bully daughter won't even show up, so it's hard for me to discipline her. Good morning, Carissa. Your life has been all Baker and Jamie lately, because in between the trials, I've been watching the Carolyn Tyler case. Yeah, and Haley, now you know where the famous corner kisser comes from, but that's another trial where I really lost the will to stream afterwards, because I felt like she got railroaded, and she got railroaded because some jurors were holdouts and didn't want to take the responsibility and stand on their ground of saying not guilty. So she got, well, I won't spoil it, but she's gonna do time. Good morning, Sight. Thank you so much, Alan. That's the idea of guns, yeah. Well, the idea of guns in a perfect society, in a perfect setting, is they're super, super good. They're good tools and stuff like that. Well, Sean, if you're taught in class that you should only pull it out if you want to use it, or so if someone heard that class and thought, oh, I see a gun, I better pull my gun out, that's then you have a little bit of a Mexican standoff. Oh, she's on the phone with her new dad. You know how it is. It's just like a relationship, just worse. You raise your children, you love them, you give them the best you can, and then some newfound dad walks in with the ex-wife saying, oh, I'm a lawyer, I can buy you a nice present, I can buy you a computer. And then old dad isn't that fun anymore, because he wants you to be in bed and don't eat candy. No, you can't have a puppy. Over at New Dad's house, we have puppies all over the place. Yeah, but that's New Dad. This is not New Dad's house. You are doing the KY Kentucky? Bryce Rund? Haven't heard about it. But probably a great case, and you're going to do great. Good morning, Mimsy. Yeah, I find the lack of citizens arrest mentioned weird, and that's, as Dave said yesterday, we don't know if there's been a pretrial motion that they can't bring it up. So that's because I would have mentioned it about a million times that it was legal. She was allowed to do it. You were qualified on Army Day. Too bad I says, or disqualified. Well, I got I pulled such a low number. I could pick my own spot, so I picked the Marines because I wanted to play music. And when I was got my draft papers, I had to go to the horse soldiers, and I hate horses. So luckily, I got that changed around. You just watch the video of her shooting on AR. Doesn't look good. No, and and it's and that's a snapshot, but that's not a snapshot, I think, because it doesn't look good. You don't know what happened before. You don't know the 20 minutes she was standing or were at the other accident. That is the snapshot that more than likely will get her convicted because you just see a very quick kerfuffle going on and someone has a whole more than he should have. So I think that will be the final nail in the coffin. There's been a lot of talk about this would be a racial case and stuff like that. We haven't seen any of that in this case, but I think that video is what's going to make her fry, in my opinion. I'm behind. Well, that's the only KY I know, but you Americans have funny names for everything. New dad or other dad, like in Coraline. Where the button eyes. There's a reference I don't get. But it's technically again. He didn't argue citizens' arrest in the motion for direct verdict. No, but I think they have had a pre-trial motion that they can't mention it. Good morning, Tracy Violet. Again, Dave talked about it yesterday. There must have been a pre-trial motion. Her defense, he grabbed her shirt, neck, arm. They were fighting and the gun went off. Either by, well, she claims she had the final safety on all the time with the finger outside of the guard. She says he pulled the trigger with my finger in the video. I think that's something that the jury might pick up on as well. But because he was about to ride off with her hanging out today. But what do I know? Hey, Sue, cook me some dinner. Bryce Rambo Roads. Oh, that's the case Vices talked about the other day, I think. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. If that's what it was, why didn't the defense even mention it unless it's not legal? Well, I don't. It is legal because the statute made it legal at the time. We know that because it wasn't changed until after Aubrey. But there might be a pre-trial motion that they can't bring it in. Do people think that her actions were really false imprisonment? He could have driven away if he wanted to. No. Well, that's what the defense really wanted to point out when we saw the pictures, that there was enough space to go around her car. She didn't really block him off. But again, not a point I felt like they had any luck pointing out to anyone. It didn't stick with me. Hello, Stace. She mentioned self-defense on her testimony because she said he was trying to drive the car while she was being held. Yeah, but that's again, if you're gonna claim self-defense, you should do it so it's more clearly. I was afraid of my life. I'm afraid, but I didn't really. I thought her story was good. I thought the questioning was good, but what was the point of it was maybe a little lagging. I guess they allowed citizens arrest, but if it's not a major crime, they don't win in court for something. Probably not, because especially after the Aubrey, and the laws have been changed since this happened, but still, we live in a post-Aubrey world where people will have that in their mind. Good morning. Yeah, my stream froze. I run my YouTube over on the other screen, and it froze for a bit too. So, but my feed should be okay today. And now it looks like even my Rumble has started working. So, hello, people on Rumble. They didn't argue that, and he's not charged with it. So again, it's yeah. On paper, we can say it's legal, but nobody treats it as it. Well, that's again we can say 1,000 things. You have the right to do this, do that, but it's up to the jury in the end. And talking about being up to the jury. Hey, Jamie.
Morning.
Did you have fun with new dad yesterday? Are we allowed to know Baker's first name? I said my first name. So you have to go like 5 months back. But
A search for it. I didn't even catch it at first.
no, I said what my name was.
Yeah, but I don't know if I did.
I mentioned it on, I would say on 90% of my streams, I mentioned my name.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Now I know. So
Yeah.
I don't think I ever realized it for the longest time.
Nando's man bun. That's the part where I again will think if there was any jurors who might be slightly on the, well, maybe she was justified, maybe maybe it was an accident. When they hear, I had the final safety on, and you can hear clearly in the 911 tape, she says, he pulled the trigger with my finger. So, yeah. A giant game of make-believe. There's make-believe everywhere. That's the fun. I make believe I'm a good streamer sometimes.
You are.
Yeah. Well. Hey, Aaron Hack. Well, thank you for listening to my Karen Reed update. I hope I did it justice because I was so angry after another stream Jamie and I watched. So I want to do it.
Mm-hmm. There's some true crime people out there that need to get their facts straight.
Yeah. Well, she mentioned he had his hand on the slide. My name is Sue. That's why.
What did Dave say?
My name is Dingle.
Dingle. I wish it was.
I didn't wish my name was Dingle. And Brandon wants to be nailed to the wall. And Brandon, your wish is my command. I'll gonna use a little prick and nail you to the wall. Thank you so much, Brandon. Why is it moved all this way? Over here, it should be like there so people can see it. I don't know what I'm doing. Boom, boom, boom. They're late today.
Are they?
Yeah, they should be going 15 minutes ago. If you remember the Aubrey case correctly, then Nate, the lawyer, would argue that the statute may say something, but the case law was different. Yes, and that's true in every case, and that's because again, the law is one thing, the outcome depends on the jury. So you had Aubrey was changed, but probably it wouldn't have mattered in this case. I don't believe, even because they changed Aubrey after this, so she actually should have been convicted as if it was still in place. But it's up to the jury at the end to interpret the law. They are the final guardians of the law, whatever you would call it.
And it has a lot to do with the person, if they like the person, to be honest with you. So if she's not likable.
Ridiculous.
So
yeah, one of the big problems was her. If she wanted to arrest him, why get this close to the car? Especially if he wants to take off, keep some distance. You don't know what he's going to do. she could have been 5 feet away, and then this wouldn't have happened. But again, stupid mistakes happen in every case. And yes, he could be in fear of his life, and that's why he grabbed the gun. But does that remove her right to self-defense? Because as Bobby claimed yesterday, that he had a right to self-defense. But if he's grabbing her, then she reasserts her right to self-defense.
It really is the case, because it's once you get in that scuffle, they both have the right to defend themselves at that point.
Yeah. Jessica, I believe Hannah as well. And I believe she did it in the best intentions, but sometimes best intentions will take you down to a bad place. Well, thank you so much, Christine. That's very kind of you. All she can hope for is 100 lesser included than a jury compromise. Well, I think she's overcharged. I don't think there was malice in this murder.
And they don't have any like lesser included.
No, and there's no lesser included, no. Yeah. But maybe it will be in the jury instructions. We have seen that in the Caroline Carla case. They changed the charges.
That is true, because we didn't watch yesterday. Well, I don't think they played it, did they? I don't know.
We haven't heard the jury instructions because I didn't want to hear them argue for 5 hours yesterday about it. And Mads, here you go back to the argument from the defense yesterday that she legally had the right to detain him, and that's why it couldn't be illegally. It wouldn't be illegal for her to detain him. But the problem is you have 12 people who has to decide if they feel like it's legal, and I think that'll be a harder sell. See, someone likes you.
Well, I hope so. At least one.
Jamie Farrell said I should yell at you and say you should stop being mean.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Do anyone? You listened to her testimony again, Miss Salmon Cross, and it wasn't as shitty as No, her testimony was really great. And it was consistent with prior statements. The problem was she had 2 small slip-ups where I thought she came off a little Karen-ish. But my real problem was, why didn't the state hit her harder? And I think it's because they have a feeling we got this in the back. We don't need to come off as C words. But I think her testimony was great.
I thought so too. I mean, the minute she started explaining everything that we didn't really get an explanation for, I kind of was like, yeah, they're really overcharging this girl.
Yeah. She was open carrying, yes. Do we know if the jury... I don't think they will be, because it wasn't mentioned during the direct verdict. So I don't know why it hasn't been brought in. That'll be interesting to hear afterwards if there has been some ruling against it, but I don't know. I think she thought she was being good. Yeah, and negligent homicide. I can go with that. No problem. I'll vote for that every day of the week. But malice is forethought, and I don't think she went up there to pew-pew him. I think she went up there, escalated, pew-pewing. That's an accidental shooting, negligent shooting, whatever you will call it. I don't think she went up there with the intention to say, now you need an ambulance, as the witness said.
Yeah, that was a little much.
I'm going to be very interested in how this judge reads these instructions, because I don't like her. Well, unless they did it before court started, she hadn't, because I've been sitting here 20 minutes before stream started, and it's been on, I can show you. See if I can use this fancy. This is what's happening. And it's live. Nothing has happened. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh my god. Oh, I removed the wrong button. Now I have to do it manually. Back to this one. Yeah, that prosecutor had a face only a mom could love. Especially because again, it was bad. I feel like it was bad cross. Bobby, I don't think anyone would suggest approaching a car like that, especially because you don't know what's inside the car. We see tons of police shootings every year when they approach a car. So I would clearly recommend against it, even though I can't give any legal advice. I would just find it stupid. She had ACCL.
Here's what I would like. If you believe her story of what she said, because she said she was on the phone when she got out of the car with 911, and she was going up to the car to let him know she's on the phone with the police.
Yeah.
Maybe because like you think, okay, why would you even go up to the car if you don't know this person? You don't know what he could do. But if she's on the phone with 911, I could see maybe she thought she was safe in a way. So because she's on the phone, and if anything was to happen, clearly they would hear everything. So maybe that's why she thought she was okay approaching.
Yeah, and well, that's the problem with eyewitnesses. It's not always correct what they say. Exactly. We can always sit here with the clearest view of hindsight and say, I wouldn't have done that. I would never have done that. She's stupid. And she was. She did all the wrong things. But still, did she unalive him with malice? Because that's the charges.
Mm-hmm.
What happened that day was there malice or wasn't there malice? Because that's the charges. We all know she put a hole in him that wasn't supposed to be there. We all know he isn't in the courtroom today. And arguing if I would have walked up to a car, if I would have danced a jig, whatever I would have done, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is, did she do this with malice? Because that's the charges, and that's the part I have the biggest problem with. It's overcharging.
Yeah. And they're basing those charges off of these witness statements that were absolute garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a big problem because she also believed the prison guard that she had to go do something he told her because she thought he was a police officer. No. What do we tell you all the time? Police are not your friends. And if you don't know the difference between a police officer and a prison warden, you probably shouldn't listen to either of them. Unless you're in prison, you probably should listen to them. But again, this all boils down to a stupid mistake was made, but was there malice involved? And Bob Bill says felony murder is easily met. Well, yeah, I just think that murder 2 is too much for me. But again, we all see this with different eyes, and everyone is more than welcome to chime in what they say. I just feel she's overcharged. So
that's my thoughts too.
yeah.
I don't think she was right completely, but I don't think she should go away for the rest of her life.
No. That's Yeah, this is the ultimate prize for being caring. This time, it's not just uh, someone spitting in your salad. This time, it's 30 to life. She had absolutely no authority, but still, in Georgia, you have the right to arrest a person. Citizen's arrest was okay at the time, so she had that authority.
And according to her
Oh,
story,
a juror is stuck in traffic.
oh, he hit her and she stopped the car. I mean, isn't that?
Yeah, but there's
It
conflicting.
wasn't like she was cutting him off to stop him.
No, but you saw how the cars were positioned. You could
It
argue
wasn't
that
really
she
that.
tried to. If you see
You could
his
argue.
car was
I
his
remember.
car was here, and she had turned into. Even though she said, "Well, I tried to pull into the lane in front of him," she she uh, she clearly were restricting his free access to movement,
I will
even
say
though
it
he could have
wasn't as
gone.
I thought it was because I'm thinking full on
Yeah,
sideways in
well,
front.
when you heard
It was
the
literally just
witnesses,
doop. It was just this little tiny.
yeah, when you heard the witnesses, it was the good old cross the T from the British Navy,
Yeah.
but it was more like this, where she just pulled in front of it, but she clearly did it to block him, even though she said, "No, I just tried to pull into his lane," because she didn't pull into his lane. She just turned in slightly so he couldn't move, even though he might have been able to jump the curb. And that's again,
He had plenty of.
I don't think that looks too good either.
No, but that's what sucks is we don't really know. We don't really know anything. And that's what's hard too, is like we don't really know.
No, because none of
So,
us can read her minds. We
it's
saw the
really
video
hard to
after.
even convict somebody of something like that when we don't even really we weren't there. But you have to go off of, I mean, she's here telling her story, and do you believe her? And I do. So
Yeah, but I believe she also tells the best version of her story.
of course.
So and when I saw the way the car was parked, I think, well, she tried to impeach his movement. And Brandon, this is kind of like the Potter case. The judge showed her quasi mercy in sentencing. Don't. Oh, this judge, no way she's gonna show her mercy.
Heck no.
This she's gonna. She would be pulling the switch if she could. She seems very anti this defendant. But thank you, Brandon, for the super chat. Going straight to the wall. Oh, according to court to be a juror is running late due to traffic. Well, that's what's happening. Are those during the sabers? No, that's my paint things. Yeah, that's why I'm not going to Georgia as well. Yeah, if the law was on in the books and people used it, yeah, that's what made this mess. Good morning, Tom. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, he could have gone around her, but and that's would I have brought that more up on defense? Yeah, they tried to make the first witness yesterday talk about it, but she didn't really say it. But when we saw the pictures during the cross, to me, yeah, it was clear that he could have, but still, it was also clear that she had turned in front of him, not just to go into his lane to let other traffic pass by, but to block him off. Not if it's a legal detainment. Then it isn't a restricting, because you're allowed to restrict people's access um, if you're doing a legal act. And now we have movement.
So apologize for the delay in commencing. We were waiting for one juror to get here, but They're here and we're ready to go. Is there anything that the court needs to address before we begin?
Yes, can we refresh for this?
Yes, you may.
Well, I think that it moved a bit more than slightly, but again, it's interpretation, and that's why I love doing trial watching with all of you people, because everyone sees it differently. To me, it seems like she clearly had turned in front of him. Other people say, well, he could just sway around. Hey, Scott. Hey, Sal. How are you doing? Exactly. You can always leave your home 5 minutes early. I'm so far behind again. Well, I would have to move too far if I had to go up and put it on the wall. No, he could have went right around her car. So, yeah, neither did it right. None of them should have done all of the stuff. And that's, again, that's the problem. We're sitting here in 2020 and they did it in the heat of the moment, and we don't know what his demeanor was as well. I'm so far behind. You actually made the CNN article. Did I see your name in there? Well, you're famous now. Enjoy it. I actually think you're right, John, that it was better for Potter that he did some time. Just gonna scroll down. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, go sub to Salvador. Congratulations on your 500 subs, Salvador. I forgot to say it on Saturday. Are you covering a trial today too, Sal? You and Christine are starting up today. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be great, and it's going to be some of the best coverage on the YouTubes, and all of you should follow them because let's face it, this is, without Jamie, this wouldn't even be called a show, and you can get way better over at Sal or Christine's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've been doing this all week.
Gentlemen of the jury, trust you had a good night. Just a reminder, I know it's been a long, arduous week, but when the court says 9 o'clock, we intend to begin at 9, and so just encouraging compliance with our time frames. Thank you. When we broke yesterday evening, the state was about to present.
Iris, can you
rebuttal,
drop Sal's?
testimony,
Oh,
and
thank you,
we're gonna
Tom,
give the
or
state an
subscribing to
opportunity
Sal.
do so and call its witness.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Keon Hayward.
Yeah, and as someone said yesterday, oh, he has swagger.
And if you would please remain standing and
I
raise
would
your right
like
hand.
to be able to walk.
Do you
like that.
swear or affirm the testimony you'll give before the court in this
Someone
matter
said
will be the
yesterday,
truth, the whole
try-
truth, and nothing
a
but the
child
truth to help you God?
molester
You can take your
gets
hand down
less
and
than
have a
this
seat.
one.
If you would please make sure you're
Jamie is
moved up and speaking into the microphone. You would introduce yourself to the jurors, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Keon Hayward.
And could you spell your name for the court?
Keon, Keon, Hayward, Hayward.
And how are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed with Quick Trip Corporate in their division of protective services.
So working security at Quick Trip.
Correct.
And where are they based?
I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. And did you travel back here for this case?
Correct.
Back in May of 2019, how were you employed?
With the Clayton County Police Department.
Well, he's
And
looking way
describe
better
your
than
experience in law
the
enforcement,
people
your
in the
experience and
track
training that qualified you to work for the Clayton County Police Department.
I was certified through the basic law enforcement here in the state of Georgia, and I worked
I
there
used to
as
be
a
a father
uniformed
of
police
two
officer for
small
3
children.
years, and then
Then
I
we left
worked
10 minutes early.
in the criminal investigations division and major felonies.
Jamie, you're single. Would you like to move? Well, some needs a Jamie.
You'll find one.
But who would love a Boston accent as much as you would?
He is the coolest too.
Yeah. Yeah.
For 3 years.
Well,
So
I'm
back
just
in May of 2019, were
trying to
you a
make a little
detective assigned
connection.
to work the case involving the defendant Hannah Payne?
Correct.
And just to kind of go a little bit about through some of the things that you did for this case, did you respond to the actual scene?
had those broad
where,
shoulders and
the
stuff
shooting
like that,
took
I would
place.
have unbuttoned that
Correct.
shirt as
And
well.
is that scene located in Clayton
But he
County?
should pull down
Yes.
his jacket when he sits down.
And did you also gather evidence
Well, I was
in this
Correct.
case?
that.
Did you instruct certain witnesses to be interviewed
Correct.
and photographs to be taken?
Yes.
Was one of the things that you did in this particular case
Now I wish I
was
was
to
coming
conduct
up.
an interview of the defendant Hannah Payne at the Clayton County Police Department?
Yes.
And were you aware that she had been transported to the Clayton County Police Department in the back of a patrol vehicle and in handcuffs?
Yes.
Therefore, did you advise the defendant of her Miranda warnings?
Yes.
And did you do that using a written document?
Correct.
I approach the witness with what's been pre-marked as exhibit number 38.
You may.
Showing you what's been marked as state's exhibit number 38, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize it?
With my name and signature, and the list of the Miranda rights also signed by Ms. Payne.
And that's a copy of the original. Is the original of these documents, is it always kept in records at the police department?
Yes.
And is there anything that about state's exhibit number 38
It's,
that has been altered or
The defense rested yesterday, and they have a rebuttal witness because the interview she did in the back of his police cruiser, they want to rebuttal that the arguments that came out there. That's why we have him here today. So the defense rested yesterday, then the state called a rebuttal witness.
deleted in any way?
No.
State tender, state's exhibit number 38.
Yeah, funny how all the former cops don't need a mask.
Without objection.
And when you have a person that you're interviewing go through these rights, is it often that you have them put a time on what time they have signed this waiver?
Yes.
What time did the defendant sign her waiver, and what time did she begin
No,
speaking?
closing will be after
At
the rebuttal.
8:47 p.m.
On the day that the incident occurred, May 7th.
Correct.
If you would, please indicate the first right that you advised the defendant that she had.
She was advised that she had the right to remain silent.
And did she initial next to that indicating her understanding?
Yes.
The second one?
Anything she said can and will be used against her in the court of law.
And did she initial that,
Correct.
indicating her understanding? Yes.
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry.
And right number 3?
You have the right to remain, you have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned.
Number 4?
And if you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish.
And number 5?
And if you decide at any time to exercise these rights, not answer any questions or make any statements.
And did she initial all 5 of those indicating her understanding of what she was being advised?
She did.
And the statement indicating I have been advised of my rights and I understand each of those rights, did she also provide her signature acknowledging that as well?
Yes.
There isn't any. In order to get the defendant to sign that Miranda waiver, was she threatened in any way?
No.
Was she promised anything?
No.
Was she offered any hope of benefit whatsoever?
No.
And based on your observations of the defendant on scene, did she appear to be
Yep.
signing that Miranda waiver freely and voluntarily?
Correct.
Never
Did she
sign,
appear,
never
based on
talk.
your
Oh,
observations,
liar,
to
lawyer
understand
first.
the questions
Why
that
did
were
I call a
being
lawyer a
asked
liar?
and the things that were being discussed?
Yes.
And also based on your
not nice.
observations of the defendant, did she appear to understand why she was being interviewed?
Yes.
And once you advised the defendant of her rights, did she indicate to you that she would speak to you?
Correct.
During the course of that interview, did the defendant ever invoke her right to remain silent?
No.
Did the defendant ever invoke her right to counsel during the portion of your interview?
No.
And again, in order to speak to you, was the defendant threatened in any way?
Not at all. No.
And have you had an opportunity to rewatch the defendant's interview?
Yes.
And based on your observation of that, did the interview contain exactly your conversation with the defendant on May the 7th of 2019?
Yes.
Can you talk to the jury a little bit about how the interview room worked at the Clayton County Police Department back in May of 2019?
Yes. Typically, the interview will be comprised of the individual being questioned and two detectives will sit in and ask the questioning at a table. It is recorded, audio and visually recorded, and we have conversation. We ask questions in regards to matters of the case, and that person.
And that's the
responds.
part they didn't really want to show, but they talked about if they needed to show where she's
Go in and
pulling off her
change
nails.
anything or anything like that.
No, I don't have any ability
Must-
to alter that.
And have you watched various?
Am I missing something? What does that have to do with anything?
It's just to say she was probably Mirandized, so everything she said can and will be used against her. And I don't know at this point what difference does it make to quote a future president of the U.S.
No,
Oh, I should say that when Nifty is on.
I keep. They were talking about that yesterday, like. how
Yeah,
she-
I think it was because they didn't want to show the interrogation videos if he didn't bring it in. So we didn't have to sit through 7 hours of her picking her nose.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And are you aware that even though you can't alter it, sometimes the audio and the video are like a second off from each other
Yes.
when you watch it?
Yes.
And you this week had an opportunity to rewatch the interview. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right at this time, the state is going to tender State's Exhibit number 39 with the exceptions of the things that we have discussed at the bench that we will place on the record.
Any objection?
The same objection we had at the bench when we talked about it, about things that were being omitted, and I think we agreed that certain things would not be discussed, and as long as everybody follows those guidelines, I would have no objection.
Okay, admitted without objection.
Permission to publish, Judge?
Yes, you may publish.
And Judge, if I can just note.
You're welcome
as we
on here too,
discussed,
Dave.
There are
You have
some
the link.
times when the defendant is alone in the room that we're not just going to watch her sit there for 45 minutes. So we
Thank
have-
you.
Both sides have agreed to move it forward. And there are a couple of other sections that have been, by agreement, that aren't going to be admitted that we will move forward as well.
Correct.
It's her removing her fake nails. They talked about it yesterday. It's just that because one of her nails broke, I think, and then she pulled it off. She mentioned it in her statements.
Yeah.
So is that more or less? Again, at this point, I don't think it changes anything.
I think a lot of it had to do with her demeanor, and they wanted to show that, like, look at her, she's so calm and.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you a lawyer present will always change the questioning. Because she said it, they're doing the good cop, bad cop routine. But Bill, I bet you she didn't do that. I don't think she found a sheet in a corner. If she said it, yeah, they should be able to show it. Yeah, they should. Exactly. But they talked about it beforehand, before she testified.
Mhm.
I think it's just to show the state of mind she was in. It's not relevant evidence. Yeah, I bet you that. Well, I shouldn't bet because I don't have any money. But I'll bet you one of those wonderful tacos from Taco Bell, Yaquiero Taco Bell,
Just this is one of the moments where we're
that
forwarding.
they will be back with a verdict within 2 hours, unless they go out at lunch.
You describe how long the gap is.
I think she just placed it on the record, but you can again.
Did you see this,
I can't tell you
Amy?
exactly where I
Yeah.
stopped, but we're moving forward.
Adore
She's
her
moving
no matter
through
what.
at 7:37,
Still gonna hug
56.
Hug her with all my might.
10 or 20 seconds, and we're moving forward to 7:53.
Exactly. If you need anything, my lawyer. Eyewitnesses rarely are if there's no video, and the video shows a way different picture than what the eyewitnesses said.
It's actually 7:53, 33, which is the closest I can get.
Well, relax. No fighting in chat. Shamala Kararaka over at Rumble said, always assert your Miranda rights. A lawyer is called a mouthpiece for a reason. Exactly. First rule of Law Club. Can I get a lawyer? Yeah, it's the taking off her fake nails and putting it in her jacket. Which seems weird, and it's a good thing to prove before the...
You think it seems weird?
Yeah, biting off your nails?
No,
Well, in this perspective, well,
Not
in
at
this,
not at all.
I have to tell you, Jamie, I know you can't tell because I don't have a good camera. I'm a guy.
Not at all.
First of all, I don't get witches' nails. Men don't find them as attractive as you women think. It's the same with Gigi Hadid and Karen Moss and people with her body type. They're not that attractive. We like a little meat on our bicycles because that makes them more fun to ride. But if I wasn't a woman, seeing that right after a murder, you're sitting there biting off your long nails and put it in your hoodie, I would think, woman, you just pew-pewed someone. That's weird.
Yeah, see? That's your perspective. I have
Expected.
actually done it myself. Like, it's kind of a nervous, I don't bite my nails, but like if I have nail polish on, I will pick at it when I'm in, like really stressed out. And better believe I mean, obviously I've got my nails done in my lifetime. If one breaks, I like personally for me, I have to get rid of them. I have to fix it. And if I can't fix it, and if I was in that situation, I would have popped those things off so fast. Just for the fact that I'm sitting there and I'm thinking and I'm picking and like I would be doing the same exact thing. So,
Well,
but see, because you're a man, it doesn't really come natural to you.
Brandon is a man, and he's absolutely right. Am I detained or am I free to go? And if you're not free to go, what do? STFU. That's John Cena's.
Exactly, Danny T. I'm weird about that. If I break one and I can't fix it, they're all coming off because I can't do that.
Well, to me, it shows a woman who is, I would have thought her more, to me, this comes off like Jodi Arias' headstand. I'm sorry, but I don't understand nails.
Yeah, so that's why I was see, you're like, oh, they're going to show it. And I'm like, why are they showing that? That's so stupid.
Yeah, but that's why I like doing trial stream with others, because
yeah,
I would just have been sitting here saying, well, that's weird. And now I'm told that you're just a man, you don't know nothing, because if you had did those nails and you had a mani-pedi, you would be sitting there spitting out your nails and put them in your jacket. And whenever you come to the US, you and I, we'll go and get a nail appointment, and you're going to get those long ones where you have to wipe from the front because you can't do it from the back. And yeah, I know how it is.
No, I paint my nails, but I still pick my nail polish. If I chip a nail, I have to take the whole nail polish off. And if I have a broken nail, yep, you better
Yeah.
believe that.
But Bill, I always pause it when I go into a rant so we can all hear and see the evidence without me talking over it, because
He's not
people
a
yell at me.
man. I love you. God.
Why think about your nails in this situation?
It's just like a stress reliever.
I have this. I play with it all the time while we're streaming because I get anxious sitting still.
Next time I do it unexpectedly, I'm gonna take a picture of it because sometimes I pile it and then I'll like what she's doing, put it in your pockets. Then you go throw it away later.
No, but to me it's just weird, and I know it's because I'm a man. I don't understand it. Yeah, but we don't get fake nails.
All the women in the chat know, they get it.
Yeah.
That's just the thing.
My viewership just went from 78% women to Mass, Bobby, and Sean and Brandon will be the last 4 people watching. A little light makeup. Don't do the clown makeup you see on YouTube.
No.
That's not nice. No, I don't think. Again, as someone asked yesterday, if there was gunpowder. Yeah, there's gunpowder. If you fired a gun in a small enclosed area, it doesn't prove anything. Yeah, but then you just cut your nail, because that's why you don't have nails, because then you don't get stuck in anything. She's biting off her fake nails, and it's totally normal, and it's just a guy thing to not understand it, because we don't do nothing because we don't care about our nails, and you should all get your hangnails done, and you... I know you, Jamie.
Well, she had said she broke a nail or two or whatever, and
Just gonna pause it at 7:57.
Like-
Detective Hayward, for the record, the minutes that we've just watched, were you able to observe the defendant removing her own fingernails and putting fake fingernails and putting them in her pocket?
Correct.
And does she continue to do that until they're all gone?
Correct.
Judge, at this time, we're going to move forward until
just the nail. There's
8:43.
nothing to do it.
Defendant is alone in the room until that time. Okay?
See, Chris agrees with me. It's you Yanks that's weird.
Who agrees with you?
Chris, she says, what CF?
She's just taking her nails off while she's sitting there with no one in the room. Like it's a
That it was 8:48.
it's a stress thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you don't have nails. Just cut them off.
Yeah. What?
Read the
Yeah.
text.
Justin.
Well, Wendy, stop failing people.
Have you ever watched like on TV or anything like that? They know when we talk to you, we're gonna read this.
They haven't said why they're showing it.
You understand what I'm saying? I just want you to, initial the fact when I read it, okay? How old are you, man? Okay. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be used against you in court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have them present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statement. Read the next line for me, please. we just talked about it here, which is right, sign right there, and then the date and time. It is, 5/7/19. It is 8:47. Before we get into anything, I just want to ask some background, and they probably already have your information, but I don't. I'm just asking you for something. What's your name, ma'am?
Hannah, H-A-N-N-A-H, Payne, P-A-Y-N-E.
I think the reason we saw this is just to show she's been properly Mirandized. So
And, your address?
315 Claire, C-L-A-I-R-E, Avenue, Fayetteville,
1514.
14,
And a phone number, please.
470, 512.
Would you really be confident though, Bobby? I mean, in any situation, I don't even care.
It's a management company called
It would be scary.
T-R-I-S-H-I-P, Partners, LLC.
Where is that?
The home office is in Hayesville.
Okay. So, say you're not working today. Okay. How long, what hours walking you on that?
I had gotten off from work, I was going home, and I was coming down Clark House, turning left onto Fourth Parkway. There was a semi that was in the lane to the right of me, and he was a little bit further in the intersection than I was. Like the light was green for us. And out of nowhere, this guy came down through the intersection, and luckily I stopped barely in time, but he ran into the semi.
Then y'all were on Park Howell and you're trying to come out on the Fourth Parkway. And
He came straight through.
the police have to rush, like, from 85 in Riverdale or from Riverdale Road?
From 85.
Okay, I got you. Okay, go ahead.
And so after I realized what had happened, I was able to go around him, and I pulled up on the sidewalk, and I parked. I called the police. I got out, and I walked over to see if everyone was okay. I was talking to the truck driver and another witness who was also a police officer who saw everything happen. And the guy who was driving the truck ended up getting out and was just kind of like looking around, like, well, what happened? He said, someone hit me. And we're like, no, you just ran the red light. And he was kind of stumbling and walking out in the middle of traffic. And after about 20 minutes had gone by, I went back across the street and I was calling my parents. I kind of had a realization and I decided to take a chance at life that I felt I was scared. So I called my parents and I told them what happened. And while I was standing over there, and when I called back, I realized it had been over 20 minutes. And I told the dispatch that he was sitting in his truck and he was revving the engine. And it looked like he was going to pull away, and at that time he did. He took off. Okay. So I got.
yeah, why didn't they play this before or during? Because they played the car video when they were questioning her yesterday, and now they're just putting this in again by way of having this rebuttal witness. He's not rebuttaling anything. He's just showing. The only thing she said was they used a good cop, bad cop method on her.
After my Jeep, and I followed him, and I told the dispatch that I was following him, and she told me that she didn't advise it. And I told her that I was just getting his tag number. I got the tag number by the time I got to the end of, right when I got to Riverdale Road. And we came around that curve, and I had an opportunity to get in front of him.
Okay.
I got in front of him, and I stopped in front of him. I got out and I was on the phone with him. I told him, I was like, you need to stop, you need to pull over. And he's like, who are you and who are you? And I'm like, I'm just no one, but I'm on the phone with the police. And I thought I was like, right
all other
next to
people
him,
dumbasses
who are you,
and
who are you? I got something
like
for
that.
you. I'm like,
It's free.
okay,
Then
I said, I'm just telling you, you need to stop. And you need to pull over. And that's when I had this my phone in my hand.
A little bit.
I told him, I was like, you need to stop, and I'm right there by the door at this point. He reaches out and kind of like hit my phone out and grabbed my wrist. Okay. He grabbed my wrist. We kind of started going back and forth, fighting. And that's when he punched the gas and he ran into my tire. And he's telling me the whole time, you know, oh, well, I don't know who you are, I don't know who you are, blah, blah, blah. And he was laying back, slowly pulling me, I got something for you reaching. And I don't know if he's reaching, if he's,
Yeah, that's
I
fine. And
wasn't
everyone
watching him, I was
do
trying to
that
pull away from
without
him.
yelling at each other.
And
Fine.
I had gotten him
Him
off of
yell,
me, but he
not
had my
me.
shirt, and that's when he ripped my shirt. He was pulling it, I have it underneath, I
Okay.
I'm sorry, so then he just got away with it.
Yeah, I just want to see that and go out if we have somebody. Okay. Yes.
He's pulling at it, and that's when I told him, after he's reaching, I told him, I said, I have a gun, I said, and I will shoot you. And that's when I reached for it, and, because I hadn't reached for it, and I touched for it the entire time. I reached for it, I pulled it out, and that's when he pulled, when I pulled away from him is when, because my shirt ripped. It's not that he let go. I had it out at that point. He was still coming at me, still yelling at me, I got something for you, you know, you're gonna shoot me, then shoot me, do it. And he went forward on the door, and I pushed it forward with my knee, went back forward, pushed it forward, thinking he was trying to get out, and I told him,
Did the door open at all, or did it not open?
he was pushing at it. Like, he reached down, he went like this.
Okay.
So, from the angle that I was at, I honestly, I don't know if it opened or not, but I could hear him grabbing the door handle. I could hear it, you know, like, just pulling at it. And so that's when I pushed the door forward, and he grabbed my hand, and we were going back and forth. I didn't have my hand on the trigger, but we were going back and forth, and he was holding it, and he was twisting it, and then that's when I actually got my grip on it. And he was turning it, and it got faced almost all the way around when I pulled it back, and he lunged again, like with one hand on me, and he lunged and he swung, and he grabbed, like right here on the back of my shirt. And when he grabbed is when I don't know. I don't remember telling myself to pull the trigger. It just,
So did you have your finger on the trigger?
yeah.
So when you're holding the gun,
Yeah,
you
so I
play
had
your
it,
head is inside
how
the trigger
it
part.
was like this, I had it like, originally I was holding it like this.
Okay.
I didn't have it inside, and he's
This part,
reaching and turning and twisting, and as he's turning it, he's, you know, pulling, and we're going back and forth. So of course, I bought it for protection. Not that I have any intentions on ever trying to use it, but I was trying to get prepared for whatever I needed to be prepared for, thinking I'd be able to pull away and then just go, you know, get away from him, and that's not how it
was
happened.
better right, yes.
So when he was pulling at me, and that's when my finger, I put it on the trigger, and he's pulling and pulling, and
Before this day, have you ever seen that man before in your life that you know of?
no, I've never.
I know it's probably hard for me to talk about, but we just have to like slow it down a lot. And you told us what happened, but I don't know, like things by things. So you pull around and you stop in front of him, and what happens is he stops behind you?
Yeah.
How far between cars would you say? Like close, like far, like?
Maybe almost the length of this table.
Okay. And then what happens then?
Then that's when I was on the phone and dispatched him, and he was asking me, he's like, who are you, and I told him.
So you're out of the car every time?
Yeah, I had walked around, and I told him, you need to stop,
Okay, so
you need to pull over.
which side of the car were you on?
I was on his driver's side, and I was at the back of my car.
That's what I hear too.
I
She
heard
now said,
eventually.
I must have pulled the trigger. And I must have got my finger on it during the fight, and it was me pulling the trigger. So,
That's why you don't talk, because there's so many things that can be said during.
yeah,
Oh.
that's why you need a lawyer present.
Zip
or people
it.
can, yeah. She had it for a little while before this. She just had her carrying permit while she did the classes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Chris, you haven't been here the other days. She tries to do a citizen's arrest, gets in a struggle with the guy in the car because he had been in another car accident. She has a pew stick. They fight, and she puts a hole in his stomach, and she's charged with malice or felony unaliving, which I seem as a little too much. Other people think that it's fine. That's why you can see in chat people are going a bit at each other, which is fine. Just keep it civil, guys, or I'll have to let Jamie take her flip flops off and go after you. But the big question is, did she do it? Yeah, we know she did it. Was it with malice or without malice? That's kind of where it lands. She will do time, but it's the difference is life without, life with after 30 years, or a lesser sentence. That's where we are going.
Because clearly they're trying to hit the mark, because their plea deal to her was life with parole.
Yeah.
So it definitely seems like they want to hit the life.
Yeah.
And I don't whatsoever.
John, when I heard that, I thought, oh, dang, that's a problem. Well, her flip-flops will be slapping you upside the head, so
Yes. So I'll beat you with my slippers.
yeah. Yeah, and I think we are all agreeing that she shouldn't have done what she did, but whatever it is. We haven't heard jury instructions. We are on what's called rebuttal of from the state. So that we will be going into closing and witness instructions after this, hopefully.
So y'all are right down the road. I'm just trying to, because I know that intersection lot, so it's like when you come around and you get on 285. So before the ramp. Yeah, okay, so you're right there now.
That's kind of, you cross off, you're
Gotcha.
right there.
Okay,
And he was right here, and I had come around, and I was right here.
okay,
And when I stopped, I got out and I walked around,
okay,
telling dispatch, and I'm on the phone, I was on the phone with her, and I told her, I said, I'm here, I said, and he stopped. And I told him, you need to stop,
okay.
And he's just like, who are you? I said, I'm no one, but I'm on the phone with dispatch. I'm on the phone with the police, you need to stop. You just caused that accident. And he goes, yeah, okay, I got something for you, and that's when he pulled forward.
So he, at this time, it was just words being exchanged, there was no contact at all yet.
Right.
Okay, so he pulled forward how? Like, his car went out far forward?
All the way forward to my Jeep.
So it struck your Jeep?
It did, yeah, it did.
You said it struck the wheel, it struck the wheel, or that, like that wheel on the back, like the?
No, the wheel on the side of the Jeep.
The actual, no, I got you.
And that's when I was telling him, I'm like, you need to stop. And that's when he was reaching.
Okay.
He hit my hand. I don't know if he did it intentionally trying to throw my
So
phone.
you're saying, so these are two cars, or this is the car, and he's inside the car here, you're saying right at his passenger.
Right here, this is where my toe was right
So
here.
here was like an angle in front of him. Okay, so you're angled in, he's here. Yeah, okay, so you're standing right.
Where the volume went, Judge.
Are we gonna need some assistance from IT?
Try it again. I don't know what it just went suddenly silent.
I believe they had the transcripts yesterday. I think for some reason they come back and just use that.
The worst part of this booster sound is all the
I'll call for some assistance.
Yeah, okay, so you're standing right here.
I came around, I was in right here, and that's when he went forward and he hit it, and I told him, whoa, I said, so you need to stop. I'm like, you're right, the police are right here, so you just need to stop. Okay, I got something for you, and I'm telling him, and of course, I'm telling him, from a distance, but I'm telling him, just stop,
So at this point, you're saying stop. No gun hand, no nothing.
No, nothing, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
And that's when, because I had my phone in my hand,
Okay.
dispatch. And so that's when, of course, I'm closer to the car now, partially because he's more forward and partially because I went forward.
Okay.
And he's telling me, he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I got something for you, which is when he hit it. When I got closer, I was telling him, you need to stop. I'm telling the lady on the phone, of course, I can't hear her because I have her on speaker and all this is going on around me. And that's when me and him, he swung at my hand and he grabbed me by my wrist and he pulled me in.
So at that time, someone gun out, so phone in hand.
Right. He swung it.
So hit me how he hit you. You're holding the phone like this?
That's what it was, I had it in my right hand.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's right here.
Okay. Don't hit me, but.
Right. Well, with his hand, I'm telling you, you stop.
Okay.
And he's just like, he went like this, and then he grabbed me, and.
He grabbed which hand?
My right hand, I'm sorry, my left hand.
The phone, not phone.
Not the phone,
Okay,
right.
I got you.
Well, when he did, which honestly, I don't know what hand, how he lunged it first, but when he lunged, it hit my phone. So it knocked it out of my hand, and he grabbed
Knocked
me.
it off the ground.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it shattered the screen.
Okay.
And then he grabbed me. He was like this,
Okay.
and that's when me and him were going back and forth.
Okay.
But before me in the vehicle, that was him, obviously he's pulling at me, he's tugging.
Okay.
So he's pulling, we're going back and forth, he's hitting, he's swinging, I'm trying to hit, but I'm also trying to pull away because the only thing that I know for protecting me and this man is what I have on me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by this point, I'm telling him, that's when I'm telling him I have a gun, I said, and I will shoot you, and I'm pulling. This hand was free, I'm trying to just get away to get my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. So then, that's when he's saying, yeah, okay, I got something for you, something about.
This is purely just to put in the
you're
video
allowed
so
here,
far,
whatever.
and it doesn't look good.
And that's when I pulled it out, because he leaned, saying, I got something for you. This is him, he still had my hand.
Okay.
He's saying, I got something for you.
And you're leaning back away from the car?
Yeah, I'm being pulled in, but I'm trying to pull away, and that's when I pulled it out.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, I told him, I said, you need to stop, that I had a gun, and I will shoot. And he's like, yeah, okay, shoot me. And that's when he lunged, he let me go, and he lunged, pushes the door open.
Okay.
Which is when I thought he was pushing the door open. He leaned forward, and he's reaching again, that's when he grabbed my shirt, and it ripped it.
Okay.
So then when he's reaching I already had it forward, reaching and it ripped, and I'm thinking here is when I'm trying to say I'm going to get away with the door thing.
Mm-hmm.
He grabs my hand with the gun.
Okay.
We're wrestling with it inside, and that's when he's turning it, and I managed to get it back towards him, and that's when it went off.
Okay. So you pull up the gun. You're right hand or left?
I'm right, and
So you have it
sealed
on your right
on
side.
my right side.
Okay. So you pull up the gun and what happens? So he still got a hold of you, or he does not hold of you?
He's got a hold of my hand when I pulled it out.
Okay.
But then that's when he lunges, he didn't lunge, but he grabs the door.
Okay.
So he grabs the door,
Is he still holding you, or is he let go down?
he's still.
You're muted.
Yeah, because I'm playing around. I was eating gummy bears. Thank you, Iris, for the super chat. Hit that thumbs up if you believe it in shutting up around cops. Yeah, always remember you have the right, even though you might not have the ability, you have the right to remain silent.
So zip your lip. Zip your lip.
And you have the First Amendment, but you don't have to use it in these cases. Iris is going on the wall.
Told me in the beginning,
Okay.
the very beginning, which is when he grabbed the door.
Okay.
He goes to push the door open, and when I got away, but he had my shirt,
Okay.
and that's when my shirt was ripped.
What kind of shirt do you have on?
It's
Like buttons or no buttons or just, okay.
but it has like a hole type thing in the middle
Okay.
that he was able to grab onto,
Okay.
which, I mean, it's just,
I know it's hard. Take your time if you need to, but
I never thought I would.
nobody ever does. Okay.
And, okay, so I had it in my hand at this point.
Okay. Are you pointing it yet, or are you, where is the point going? Pointed it down?
It's up, like this is the window,
Uh-huh.
and I pulled it out like this, trying to get him away from, trying to get off. He still has a hole in my shirt. When he pulled away from the shirt is when the door happened.
Okay.
I pushed the door with my knee, and
Do you think the door opened at all?
I went forward when I pushed it, which is
So
why.
the door was open, it had to have been open. Okay.
I mean, and that's where all the marks came from on my jeans, because the outside of the car.
Did those photographer take pictures of you? No. Okay.
They didn't talk
Okay,
about it.
we're gonna need to have it, take pictures.
Okay, so he was, when he still had me when I pulled it out, and I'm telling him, he's like, yeah, shoot me, I got something for you, And then I was up, I had pulled it up, and that's when he had a hold of my shirt ripped,
I have
he
56
grabbed
minutes in a second.
he grabbed the gun,
Okay, hold the gun, grab the gun, you ready? Yeah. Grab the gun.
so he's trying to turn like this, and I'm trying to push up against the door. After my shirt was ripped, he went like this,
Okay.
and he was pulling at it, but my hands were just on
Okay,
the side, and
so, okay.
so he's pulling at it, and he's pulling at the trigger area, in the trigger,
His hand is in the trigger bar?
his hand in the trigger guard, yeah.
Okay.
And that, I mean, the specific reason why I bought the one that I bought was because it had the double
Gotcha.
safety mechanism, so I wasn't too worried, I guess, because I didn't have my hand all the way on that. On the
Okay.
back, I could tell.
Okay.
So he's
I think
pulling at it,
that's
pulling
a
at it, and that's
moral
when
shirt
he's
because
going
hers
like
was
this,
ripped.
and he's turning it and turning it.
Turn it away from himself.
Yeah, and he's trying to, and that's when he grabs it, my fingers and his fingers were both in it, and he's trying to pull it, and that's when I'm trying to pull my hand out, but I'm not trying to leave the gun there, obviously.
Right.
So he was pulling it and turning it, and that's when I was able to kind of just like yank it back towards him, and he had it like this, and he's like, yeah, just shoot me. And that's when he lunged, he still had a hold of my hand right here.
With the gun.
Yeah, I got my hand, and he lunged, and that's when,
Okay. Now, do you think that he pulled the trigger, or do you think that you pulled the trigger?
what I told them originally was that I felt like he did.
You
Because
think
I
he-
did
okay.
not have my finger, I know about the double safety mechanism, so that's why I specifically did not have my finger on the trigger.
Okay.
Now, when I pulled it back around, after he was, tugging at me and he lunged, he still had his hand on it, and I had my hand in on it.
Okay.
But it was more so of a matter of force instead of me saying, okay, I'm going to pull the trigger. Does that
Yeah, and you're talking about the double safety, I'm not familiar with what kind of thing you're talking
An SD, 9mm.
about. Okay. When you're talking about it, is it like a double trigger, it's like a trigger and then another trigger and you have to pull them both back in order to, okay.
And then also on the back of the hand.
Brandon, you've been around my channel for the last 6 months or something. Have we ever met anyone remembering their Fifth Amendment rights? They always want to explain because the cops are here to help.
No, they're not.
No.
Never.
There's also like a,
Switch, safety switch.
yeah, it's like a, almost like a, I don't know, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
Oh, then you're not pressing that, not Right.
This part, is they're not actually holding it properly, it's not going to, which, when he first had it turned, I heard it click, like the trigger was pulled, and that's before I had it pulled down. Before I had my finger pulled down, because I didn't have my finger on that back part, it I put my finger on the trigger, and he still had his hands on my hand, so that way both of our hands was in the, I don't know, the trigger.
The trigger guard?
Trigger, yeah, inside his hand. And I'm pulling, and that's when it went off.
Okay.
God.
Never seen this done before.
No.
Okay. Be right in a second, saying what you just told me.
I have 3 questions.
Okay.
So help me understand the more part about because you sound like you're saying you're grabbing 3 things at one time. The door, your shirt, and the gun. I'm not understanding how you can grab all 3 at one time. So make that more clear to me.
So the first thing that he grabbed was my hand, with his right hand.
Okay, at this point, there's some,
No, it's not out.
right. All right,
Video,
first
yes.
you grabbing the shirt, where at your shirt?
No, not my shirt, he grabbed my hand.
Okay, grab your wrist.
Yeah, with his right, he grabbed my left wrist with his right hand.
Okay,
And that's when me and him were fighting, going back and forth, hitting. And that's when he's telling me, he's like, okay, well, I got something for you, and he's twisted and turning and he's leaning back. So then, after that is when I told him that I had a gun.
all right, let me go back to where the wrist is grabbing. At what point were you inside, were your arms inside of the vehicle? Or did he have to lean outside the window to grab you?
He had to lean out, because I was right at the window, so it wasn't,
Were your arms right from the window when you was talking to him?
no.
What was your hands doing besides the cell phone? What was his hand doing?
So if this is the window,
Mhm.
and this is inside the car,
Mhm.
I'm telling him, you need to stop, because my hand's right here, and I'm on the phone with the police.
Mhm.
Now, I wasn't,
Was he stopping at that point, the vehicle?
yes,
So why did you say I tell him to stop if he stopped?
he wasn't in park,
Mhm.
and he never turned off the vehicle, and it wasn't a matter of like he was, I guess, not complying, but he was just saying, and it wasn't necessarily that he was inching, but like he just was saying, no, I'm not, I got something, I don't even know who are you? And I told him,
Okay,
I was no one,
so what was your response to that?
when he, to what?
I don't know who you are.
That's when I told him, I said, I'm no one, I said, but I'm on the phone with the police.
Okay.
I said, and they're telling you to stop.
And when you respond to that, what are you doing? Are you still moving? Are you talking with your hands? Are you still moving with your hands? Are you
Yeah,
still like holding the stop? Are you pointing? I'm trying to understand. Somebody sitting in the truck.
Right.
You're standing outside.
Probably
Now,
because the
your
play is
right
better.
hand reach across, driver's up. So trying to do it without you being partially inside of that vehicle already.
I was close, but
Okay.
I wasn't leaning forward, you know what I mean, like I wasn't,
So you were just,
right, and that's when he said, I don't know who you are, and that's when he reached forward, like he was swinging on him,
like trying to swing and hit you? Okay.
and that's when he grabbed me.
Bill,
And that's
because
what I thought he
here
was
she
gonna do. I
says
thought he
she
was gonna hit me.
she had her finger on the trigger.
Willing to just trying to take the hit and thinking it was gonna go past that, and I was still in front of the police, and I
Well,
could see the police car.
sorry, I knew you'd have to pause. I didn't want to speak. Well, she did also say, I thought initially I didn't, but then I realized, you know what I mean? So to me, it doesn't really
No,
make,
but it's a contradiction, and we
Yeah,
were
it is.
talking about
Oh, I
how she was so straight in her testimony yesterday.
yeah, but I
So
also, in just my view of it, I don't really see it as that big of a like, oh, ooh, so
oh,
dangerous.
she's still going down, no problem. Don't worry about it.
I know, but it's just like, okay. It's,
No police officers testified.
Seanbird, I think it was only about the trigger, right? Really? Because everything
Yeah.
else I'm hearing is pretty much the same. She even
Yeah,
said,
the only thing is she clearly stated yesterday, I kept my finger because that's what I learned. And today she says, with all the twisting and it might have ended up in it, or as someone said, we might have DP'd the trigger together. But
Yeah.
it just sounds like something she didn't admit to yesterday.
Yeah.
They're not renter cops. They are working security for a high-end shopping establishment.
Oh, Farrell.
So what's Farrell doing now?
She's just picking. I love her.
Yeah. Which is why she needed to shut up. Yeah, but again,
Yep.
even though you have the right, most people doesn't have the ability. So, no, of course it's not legal advice. Why would anyone do what I say?
Why
Only
would
listen
you
to
do what I say? Don't ever do what I say, people.
Yeah. They're just playing dirty just to impeach her in rebuttal. That's all they're going to do. And it's not needed. She was going to fly either way. It's just stupid that we have now spent.
But they're not really like, I haven't heard anything. She's even said the same stupid comment that I caught like over and over again.
They could just pull out the parts where she said, I had my finger. I must have had my finger
Yeah,
on the
that's what they
trigger.
really had to do. That was the only one they wanted to get her on.
Yeah, and we've been going at this for 40 minutes now.
So that, but instead of swinging, when he swung with that hand,
His right hand?
I'm sorry, yes, when he swung with his right, when I was thinking he was swinging with his right hand, is when he grabbed my wrist.
Okay.
But before he grabbed my wrist, there was a motion with his, I think it was his left hand. There's no way that he could have motioned it over here with his right hand. Did I see it with two different hands? No, but I'm looking at him.
What kind of motion?
Like he was like telling me like to
Get away.
basically, yeah, like no, I'm not stopping, I'm not. He's like, no, I don't know who you are, you're not no one, you're no one.
So he's like motionless and like get away from me. Like kind of like get away, I don't know who you are.
But that's what I'm saying, I don't know if it was a getaway or if it was a trying to hit the phone out of my hand. Cause I'm going like this to him, I'm on the phone with them right now.
So you like explain the screen to him,
Yeah.
how you looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, you stick your, are you with your hand more so inside the truck or is it still outside? Okay. Closer to his wrist.
I don't think I was in the truck too.
I got you. I think you're in the truck like this.
No,
But like, it's a lower truck. I saw the vehicle. I saw everything was parked at the end. So before how close your vehicles were, you were saying there was a little bit more distance. All right. So prior to that distance, all this is when this all happens, right? You grab your hand before pulling off, or then you grab your hand after?
He grabbed my hand before.
All right, so this is grabbing your hand before.
And while he has my hand, and we're going back and forth and we're fighting and whatever.
All right.
My phone is already falling out the sheet, falling out my hand.
Mhm.
And that's when he's saying, I got something for you, and that's when he went forward.
Okay, I got something for you, go forward, while still holding on to you.
Right, but,
All right.
yes. And then that's when I rushed back.
Yeah, that's why I don't get
Uh-huh.
playing these 45
With
minutes.
one hand,
I would have stopped and asked, did you clearly hear that she said, I might have had my finger on the trigger?
Eventually, my shirt got ripped
Okay.
somehow. But it wasn't when he had grabbed it, it was where he was just like hitting and we were scuffling basically, if that makes sense.
Okay, so your shirt got ripped from scuffling, not from him grabbing.
It got, you could hear like stitch pulls.
Okay, so
But
about,
then at the end, what caused it to rip, actually ripped like fully, was from him grabbing it and him pulling it.
all right, from him pulling it. All right, so let me understand. So we got the grabbing of the wrist.
Right.
Then I got something for you where the vehicle moves forward
Right.
while still holding you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At what point does the door open?
I went with the vehicle when the vehicle was forward.
How did the vehicle stop? Did he just stop or did you?
No, it didn't stop. He didn't stop. It went into the car.
Was he driving it forward, or was he, did he have to, what was the damage doing when the vehicle went forward?
One hand was with me.
On your shirt or on your?
That was with my wrist.
Okay.
Yeah. And then,
Like, did he move, like, did he turn to, like, drive the vehicle away, or did he,
I mean,
did his foot slip off the brake and it moved with?
no, because you can hear it rest.
Yeah, right. So he's holding you with his right hand and he moved forward. I guess it's might move, driving forward.
He
to the
didn't
left.
reach forward for the,
Steering wheel.
no, he didn't.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you just heard the engine rev.
Okay. Did at any point he shut off his vehicle?
No.
So the car should have still been in drive by the time police got there?
I to be honest, I don't know.
Do you remember him reaching for his gear shift to park it or to do anything? Or did he have to reach in and turn his car off and something like
The
that?
only time that he reached was when he's saying, I got something for you, after he had let
Yeah,
go.
when he was he reaching the back, side, front, where was he reaching at?
I saw his arm go this way.
So it's like towards the back.
Yeah,
Okay.
toward almost turned diagonal.
Okay.
But
I got you. Like kind of.
it could have been to the back, it could have been behind, underneath, to the side.
I got you.
It could have been to the gear shift,
Mm-hmm.
with you saying it now, but he's saying, after I had said, I have a gun,
Mm-hmm.
he said, oh, and he's saying still, I got something for you, and he reaches.
But the first time you said I got something for you, he just moved the vehicle.
Like,
There was no reaching for no weapon or anything at that time, just moved up the vehicle. All right, so at this point, after he grabs your arm, I have something for you, strikes your vehicle,
mhm.
what happens next?
Then I pulled my wrist away.
So you make him get away from him?
Yeah, I had already had my gun pulled out.
All right, so where did you remove your gun from?
A concealed holster.
So you have a steel holster on your right hip?
Mhm.
Okay.
So I pulled it out.
Mm-hmm. And when you pulled it out, what did you do with that gun?
I loaded it.
All right, so you racked the chamber.
I did, yeah.
You think you
Which
will
is
start
when he
closing
had
before?
my shirt.
So at this time, he's now grabbing your shirt.
Mhm.
So you was able to get away, snatch away from him with your left wrist.
Mhm.
And immediately, did he grab your shirt or was
No.
there some separation at some point?
There was a minimal amount of separation.
Uh-huh.
From the wrist, I had the gun out. When I pulled it away, it was a one movement.
Uh-huh.
I was still within a couple inches of his door. And that's when he's pushing open the door.
All right, why did you didn't have enough time to retreat, to run away to your vehicle?
That's what I had intention on doing after I took out my gun.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying, that's when he pulled out, that was where the lean happens, the reach, I got something for you, he's pushing open the door, and that's when I pushed up against the door. I had it in my hand, I wasn't holding it back,
Mm-hmm.
but I had it in my hand, and I'm at the window with my gun in my hand.
So we gotta reach back, also open the door, but you gotta lean kind of forward, but you close that, all right?
After the reach, it wasn't a matter of him just like staying over here, he was reaching, and then it was
So reaching means like he's looking for something, is he still over there trying to find something, or is it just like just a little reach back?
from where we were, halfway in and out, both of us, it was, I got something for you.
Okay, but does he hold that position, or is it something just very quick?
I looked up to see him like this.
Sorry. Is their video sped up?
I don't know.
It goes so fast.
I know they're
I
talking.
feel like they have it on 125.
It is.
Her voice sounds nothing like Jamie's. Jamie sounds like a choir of angels.
Does she sound like me? I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows what she means, but she initiated the I shouldn't pull that up on screen. She put herself in this position. Well, it could have been meant the knife in the backseat. It could have been a cheese Danish, both of which would be making it into justified, in my opinion.
I'm telling you.
We only know that he has a pointy stick in the back of his car. We never saw any evidence of all the needle and tools that were supposed to be on his seat.
Yeah, because remember he went through the car and he was showing all the stuff he had in there, tools. They did find a knife and a ton of needles. So.
Yeah, and the problem is, as Brandon said, they should really have better audio because it ends up in court. But the problem is, if you can clearly hear what they say in the interrogation room, you can't skirt around the edges of what is being said in the evidence, in the interrogation. No, she hasn't been informed that he's dead yet.
Yeah,
that's why she's talking like she's on the first date.
Yeah, because she got like put in the cop car right away almost.
Yeah.
And said she didn't know like his status at all.
So she was told later. She asked for it, but wasn't told. That's what she said yesterday on the stand. Bobby, I hope they're playing it through the court's audio, not like the case where they played it through the speakers into a mic and out through the court's audio. That was a whole lot of nothing. But I just had to stop because with earbuds in, this is killing me.
And when I look back, he was moving forward.
Okay, so,
Pushing it.
all right, I got you. So it wasn't like a whole, like, searching region.
Yeah, no.
I got you. All right, so then he leans back, pushes the door forward. Do you ever see what's in his hand?
I couldn't see his hand from where we were, from how I was pulled back and the angle that I'm sitting at, and I'm focusing on nothing, truthfully. So, you know what I mean? Like, there was no assuming that there was, assuming that there wasn't.
Just what?
It was just me just trying to make sure that I was prepared for whatever it may have been.
I got you. So at that time, he opens the door, you close it back, right?
That's when I pushed up against it with my knee.
What made you do that? Why would you open the door?
I'm yelling at him, telling him to stay in the car. I told him he needs to stay in the car.
She's
The
not
police are on
talking.
their way.
Okay.
And that's when he lunges.
When you say lunges, that means he like actually trying to like reach out the window?
Chris, that's what we were yelling about all day yesterday.
From inside the vehicle to the outside?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And you got him messed up?
He's just coming with his right hand.
So,
Because he's turned sideways, like if this is the window, he's turned sideways as he has his hand up against, almost like he has it on the armrest. He had his hand up against the door, that's when I pushed it, and I told him, you need to stay in the car.
okay.
And I had it in my hand.
Are you pointing at him at this time?
I would bet that your phone isn't on your person at this time. So, no, I don't think you're allowed to, but I'm not a lawyer. Please write that question down, and when David takes over, ask him out of context, and he will be very confused, but he would know it.
I'm pointing it at him, but I'm not pointing it.
So where are you pointing at? Where is he
It was at rest with my hands, the rest here.
So your hand is actually on the car?
No, I'm just saying, like, at the window.
Okay.
And I was actually further away because I had my knee on the door when I told him that. So I
Okay.
had my knee on the door, and I'm telling him, you know, you need to stay in. I'm not reaching in, I'm not moving, I'm not
Do you
touching.
remember which knee that is?
Do you remember which side?
Which knee? The right,
My
left?
right knee.
So it's your right knee, so the same side as where you're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had it face this way, and I pushed the door forward.
All right, tell me how your hands are. Is she holding the gun sideways, holding pointed? Like, how's your, where's your hand? Like, where's your hands?
My hands are up here.
Oh, so you get like a higher rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had it, I pulled it out, and I had it up here.
Where's the muzzle point?
It's more so pointing sideways. Because I have it, yeah, so I have it in my hand like this.
All right, so it's not pointing at him, but it's kind of like
Right.
ready if he has to pull. All right. All right. And then you close the door back and tell him to stay in the car. At this point, he reaches out, correct? And he reaches out with his right hand. So you know there's nothing, no weapon or nothing in his right hand, correct?
Correct, well, yes.
Because you didn't see no weapon and nothing in his right hand.
I didn't see anything in it, but he didn't have anything in his hand.
Okay.
This hand is still down.
The left hand, which was the one that he was not reaching with, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's the one, he just reached to, trying to open the door.
Mhm.
Okay. And then he grabbed your shirt
He grabbed my shirt.
with his right hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's when I'm trying to just pull away from him, and I actually it was making me nervous because of the fact that I had the gun in my hand and I wasn't holding it like I'm ready to shoot, so I didn't have the best grip on it.
Mm-hmm.
So because of it, I'm pulling away from him, and he's pulling to
So
me.
you're using both hands now to try to push off the car, or like,
It's more so just my right hand because I'm trying to, do this with him.
okay, with the left hand.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I'm trying to do this, just trying to push him off of me.
Mm-hmm.
And the gun is still facing that way.
Okay.
But that's when he lifts up and he grabs it,
Lifts up.
lifts up with his hand, his left hand.
So he lifts up with his left hand,
Mm-hmm.
grab you, lift up with his left hand, grab
Just
the gun.
as he
Everyone
pulled
remember,
away with
never
my
lawyer
shirt,
up.
I
like he's
always
trying
talk.
to, almost like he's trying to pull me closer towards him. But that's when the shirt rips altogether. When that happens, when he lifts up with his right hand.
Okay.
I'm sorry, his left hand.
Okay.
And the gun is right at his door.
Okay.
And he grabs it.
Okay. With his left hand.
With his left hand. Yeah.
Okay. And at this time, is he still holding on to your shirt with the right hand, or?
No, his hand has come off on the shirt.
All right.
So
You said
now
what?
his hand has come off on the shirt.
So
Hey Emma, welcome to be in the first time in the chat. She can be found guilty, but with time served. I think it's there's a minimum of 30 years on the charges that she is getting.
Yeah.
It's there's a mandatory 30.
And I don't know how much time she actually spent in jail.
No, she's been out on bond, but bond will count as time served, I believe.
Does it?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just saying stuff.
No, I'm asking a legitimate question.
I learned very early on that as long as I just say it with conviction, people don't ask me if it's
I
true.
believe you sometimes. I'm like, oh, really? And you're like, no, I don't know. So does anybody know? Does that include time served? Because I thought it was like
because when Karen Tyler got her sentencing, her time on parole were counted in. But Iris might know it. So Aaron says no. I don't think time is time. Bond is time. So I don't know. I don't think time out on bond counts. Well, just forget everything I said and ask Dave later. I'm just here to entertain. So if you're Iris, who knows law, yes, it's time served ever since she got arrested and days served. So
so even
I'm right.
if you're out on bond, you get credit for those days too.
Because you're technically you can't go where you want. You're technically on house arrest because you have to be at a certain point you can't leave the state and stuff like that. So you're technically
no, she corrected herself. If she's out on bond, no. I thought, only if she's in jail. Only the time you spend it. Because that's why
Iris, thank you for just ruining my. I'm just gonna.
left hand grabbing the gun. What is right hand doing?
Left hand was grabbing the gun. That his then he needed to pull his right hand around.
So now he got two hands on your gun.
Me, yeah.
Okay. And at that point, how many hands do you have on your gun?
I pulled my hand under and I was trying to pull my actual hand away.
Okay.
I couldn't actually grab the gun itself.
So your right hand and his hands are all
Okay. Right. Don't have my fingers on the trigger. I had it resting on the side of the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he's turning it, like he keeps turning, and it gets to almost like where my hand is on top of it. His hands are turning it, and we're that way, and it's kind of going back and forth over here, and when it was in this is when I...
At this point, is the gun more so inside of the truck or more so outside of the truck?
It's more so... We were right at the window,
right.
But when he's turning it, it's outside.
Okay, so it's more so outside of the truck.
Good morning, genitals.
Mm-hmm.
That is how your gun and your hands are more out of the truck.
Because, it's like a back and forth thing. You know,
Okay.
like he's pulling, I'm pulling. But the only thing that was keeping
So
me
the tug of war you was primarily winning because of the fact that your hands was outside of the truck?
It kind of was going back and forth.
Okay.
The only reason that I was able to pull fully, I couldn't because he was stronger than I was.
Okay.
To actually pull away from him, but the truck and my knee being up against the truck was kind of helping me. Yeah. Yeah, so that's when I was pulling. We're going back and forth. And the entire time, it was never more so in the car, out the car when we had the gun.
That case is
It was
closed.
more so like right there. And he's pulling, so my arm is now technically inside the vehicle.
Okay.
And he's pulling, and it got to where the gun was pointed kind of that way. And he had a hold of the trigger, and the trigger was pulled.
Okay.
It didn't go off.
Because your hand wasn't on the safety.
Right.
Right.
So that's when I'm lifting up and I'm trying to pull over.
Okay.
When I'm lifting up and I'm thinking I can just get above him because
I had air.
Yeah, he's a little,
Truck,
yeah.
thinking I could just get a button and it wasn't working. So then we're back here, both hands, and I'm yelling at him, telling him, I said, just let go, let go. And he's yelling, no, just shoot me. You said you were going to, just shoot me. I'm like, just let go. That's when his hands and my fingers were,
In the trigger guard.
they were at the trigger guard.
Okay.
And that's when my hand was underneath, so I was still pulling, and he had let go with his right hand. His right hand, which is when he was reaching. And when he was reaching is when my hand went in the trigger guard, yes. And that's when he grabbed kind of like the side. I don't, if.
And she said her hand went into the
So
trigger
it was his
guard.
right hand. Left hand still on the gun.
That's just what we're doing now.
And then, okay. Then he grabs you. And then.
Well, he did.
Yeah, she's consistent. You can't say anything, but her statements are consistent.
Because he's more forward now than he was before, and more turned. I mean, he's almost fully
Basically, like, yeah.
by pulling. And I think that was more so just a matter of us kind of going back and forth with him like this. And he's pulling after it.
Just did one
he tried to pull the
yesterday.
trigger when it came back around, is when I had my hand on, on the trigger. And he still was squeezing, reaching, pulling, turning.
With his left hand.
Which is when the lunge happened, like the
The
grab,
extra.
and
Okay.
that's when it went off.
When you went off.
How many shots were fired? Just before. How many, did your gun hold?
It holds,
She's been interchanging trigger guard, and all the time.
I don't think she really truly knows, to be honest with
Nope.
you. She's just
No.
speculating herself.
And
And the
anyway,
longer you talking about it, like the more you're gonna just, I don't know. I feel like you
Yeah.
jumble. You
your
start
brain will
jumbling.
again start to fill in all the gaps and think, what really happened? Well, it must have happened this way.
Yeah, it
That's
must
the
have.
same thing we say with the witnesses.
Yeah.
But we need to say that she's been consistent all the way through, even though they've been going for over half an hour now. She claims the same things. She might have slipped her finger and she just doesn't know.
But like the whole like
That's what I call a good Friday night.
the confrontation part that she's talking about, to me, I didn't hear anything different than what she said.
Aaron, I forgot that.
I want to say
Oh my
15
God.
16.
Was it full?
No,
Do you know how many was in there?
11 or 12. My boyfriend noticed it for me after they bought me new bullets, so.
Memory.
How did you get the gun?
Like originally purchased it, you mean?
Yeah, like, was it gifted, or did you go buy
I
it?
went down there.
Where did you buy it from?
Gun safe and armory, in
Okay.
Forest Park. Something like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, how long you had that gun?
Not long enough.
Yeah, but she doesn't slip up, and that's why I believe her.
A couple weeks. Did you take any training classes with the gun, or is it just that you?
It wasn't, I didn't take any scheduled training. Professional, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've been to the range, I grew up shooting range. I grew up around police officers, actually, so.
Why, you brought us about the 911 call, why did you stop?
Why did I stop originally?
Yeah.
Because I could,
Why did you check, like, why did you stop?
I'm not a just, oh, it wasn't me type of person. I'm,
Explain.
I mean, not that it has anything to do with it, but my entire life until I was 18 and my grandfather passed away, I was going to be a police officer. And I'm a people person. I like to help people. And considering the fact that I was almost involved, it threw me. So I called the police, and when I was on the phone with her, I told her, I said, I'm sure they've already called, but I'm just letting you know. She goes, well, we haven't actually received any calls yet. So I thought it was weird. So that's why I pulled off, I got out, I walked over and was talking to them, and after he was getting out of his truck, the truck driver had come back, the other police officer was also there. And that's when he had come back, or he was getting out of his truck and he was stumbling and falling into traffic.
The guy.
Yeah,
So he had appeared inebriated to you?
yes,
Have you been around drunk people before, or people using
yes.
other drugs with a prescription or not? What did you think?
I thought it was alcohol.
Did you ever smell any alcohol in it?
I never got close enough.
Even when you're at the window, like when you're having the, did you ever sketch a list of anything, or?
I can't say that I did, can't say that I didn't.
Okay.
Is that something that you noticed? That you
No, nothing that I didn't know.
Did you smell anything that you noticed?
No,
No?
no, nothing. Other than the outside.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just, like, no alcohol, no pretty smells, or nothing like that.
No. But when I was standing there talking to the guy, I thought it was weird that he kept going back to his vehicle. So that's why, and he turned it on and started revving it while we were all standing in front of it.
Okay.
So that's when I walked back across the street and I was calling my parents to tell them what happened. And I told them, let me call you right back. It's been almost 20 minutes and this guy's making me nervous.
Okay.
So I called dispatch. That was when I called the police officer. The police and the dispatch answered. And that's when I was on the phone with her when he took off.
And did the dispatcher ever tell you not to follow them?
She
I
said,
totally agree with
I told her, I
Megan as
said,
always.
I'm following him.
Did not?
And she said, yeah, no, so she said, she's like, we asked that you don't put yourself at risk.
Okay.
And I told her, I said, I'm just trying to get a tag number.
Emma, there's a mandatory 30 years if she's found guilty. So, and in Denmark, this would land her 8 to 10, with two-thirds served.
So you can have it. By the time I got a tag number, we were at the end 2 Ridgeville Road, and I come around that corner, and right before he came around the corner, I came around the corner, and I got in front of him, and I stopped him.
Did you ever get the tag number?
Right when I got to the end, yeah.
Alright. So did you get the tag number before you kind of cut them off?
Yes.
What made you cut them off still after getting the tag number?
I saw the police light, and the police light was more so than after.
So.
Again, I've been involved in hit and run, and if the world was perfect, I could know that that was his car, that that tag number would go to the right person, but it wasn't just like he was just in the accident and then he just wanted to leave. He was just in the accident and he was all over the place. And that's when that's exactly what I told the dispatch. I said, he's all over the place. I said, there's no way. I said, please just get an officer here. I said, and then, I'll stop, but I said, he's going to hurt someone.
Right.
Which is when I got in front of him. And assuming that was going to stop him.
Because we're stopping at 9:34, moving ahead.
Holy Santa suit on that lady.
Right?
Well, I don't know if they have conjugal, but it doesn't seem like she'll have a lot of grandkids. Yeah, they should switch shirts. He would look like
Just have a hard time getting to the right spot.
press stand.
What are you talking? Oh my god.
Yeah, she comes off a little Karen-like. I think she could do it. Come on.
Yeah, I think can you sometime, we'll get a photographer to do it, too. We need pictures of each
Construction roofs up.
I mean, there's a little more to it, and I'm not saying actual bruises, I'm just saying, like,
No, wherever you used to pay injuries.
I have a scratch here.
Okay.
I mean, I felt more scratches around here. I don't,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but with my hair was more, when I first, I mean, because I have it, not that it makes that much of a difference, but it was like that.
Okay.
So we're going back and forth.
Right.
Yes, this is just like another witness.
I don't know if you know, or I haven't looked.
Do you have a,
I have a bra.
okay.
Judge, we're stopping at 9:36:12.
Yes.
Detective Hayward, do you agree, based on your investigation in this case, that this interview basically took place within a couple of hours of the shooting?
Correct.
And at the time that you conducted the interview with the defendant, had you listened to the 911 calls?
No.
Had you formally interviewed any of the other eyewitnesses?
No.
Had you watched the body cameras of any of the uniform responding officers?
No.
So when you hear the defendant in the interview saying that she was telling Mr. Herring to stay in the car, did you hear her say that?
Yes.
Were you aware that on the 911 calls, she's saying the opposite, get out of the car?
Not at that time. No.
And do you, for the record, on the interview, do you hear that the defendant admits that she caused Mr. Herring to stop, that she stopped him?
Correct.
And even though she goes back and forth repeatedly, do you hear the defendant several times in your interview with her acknowledge that she put her finger on the trigger?
Yes.
Based on your evidence in this case, after the interview, obviously, did you watch all the interviews and conduct the interviews and watch the media that I just talked about?
Yes.
Did you receive any evidence in this case that Mr. Herring ever got out of his vehicle in any way?
No.
That's a perfect stop. Here's a fire for this cop not buttoning his shirt for court. What's going on? Well, he has swerved, but he shouldn't have put on his black wife beater underneath. That kind of ruins the illusion of having a white shirt on.
Oh my God.
So, but he's working as a renter cop for some, what company was it? I can't remember. One of the upscale shopping establishments in the US.
Walmart?
Yeah, one of those. But thank you. It'll go into my shirt button font, so I won't go to court looking like this guy. But I like his attitude. He doesn't wear a mask like the other ones do. Yeah, maybe trying to. He's a pretty guy. I can see it. Like it's the club, yeah. Thank you so much, Brandon.
And did you hear the defendant acknowledge that Mr. Herring had nothing in his hands?
Yes.
Did you ever hear her, or did she ever tell you at any time about any specific weapon she was concerned about?
No.
Did the defendant ever mention being concerned about a sheetrock knife located back in the trash or behind Mr. Herring's seat? Did she ever mention a knife to you at all?
No.
Let's talk a little bit about one second. in order to be a police officer, do you receive any training as it relates to firearms in general?
Yes, ma'am. Initially in basic law enforcement training and then ongoing continuous training throughout the year of your career.
And have you maintained, you said you're still working in security?
Correct.
Are you still around weapons,
Yes,
things like that?
I am.
And I want to go back to one thing before I forget to do it. Do you hear, you asked the defendant specifically if she'd taken any gun safety classes, and she told you no?
Correct. Professionally, yes.
You and the defendant kind of start discussing the double safety, is that correct?
Donna.
Yes.
Correct with what's already been admitted as State's Exhibit number 15. And ask the witness if he can step down to show
Oh, she's
the
just.
feature of this weapon, please.
Yeah, he's just been saying yes.
You would make sure that your back is going to be to the court reporter if you keep your voice up.
Okay.
And again, for the record, there is a zip tie. There is no ammunition. The gun is safe.
Oh, he works
You
for
could
Quick.
show the jury on State's Exhibit number 15 what that second safety is and where it is on the firearm.
It's going to be on the back side of the handle, where my finger is pointing, and you have to grasp the handle firmly to push that trigger in.
And there's also the double trigger. So there's a safety feature on the trigger. So in order for this gun to fire, what all has to be happening at the same time?
Both the trigger on the back of the handle and also the trigger within the trigger guard have to be pulled.
So someone's hand has to be firmly on both.
Correct.
All right. If you would. You heard on the interview that the defendant claims that the moment she was able to pull the gun, that she wrapped the slide.
Yes.
In your experience with firearms, how many hands does it take to wrap a slide?
2.
So when she has the gun out, who's wrapping the slide, she has both hands.
Correct.
What? What's the importance of that?
Sounds like they're saying she was taking.
Yeah, she talked it before going over there. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, I'm voting for Santa. That's my favorite. Best person.
Were you eventually able to obtain a video of this incident?
Yes.
And that was from Cameron Williams, is that correct?
Can't recall the name, but it was from a witness.
Approach with what's already been admitted as State's Exhibit number 22.
You may.
Thank you, Judge.
Well,
I'm just gonna let you look
don't
at
you
that.
always
I'm gonna
everyone in the chamber?
display it.
That's why he's not a cop anymore. He works for Quick Trip.
Using State's Exhibit number 22, the position that you see the defendant's hand in, with her hand all the way on the back of the grip and the finger in the trigger guard, is that the position that the hand would have to be in order to pull the trigger on that gun for it to work?
Correct.
David.
No further questions at this time, Judge.
Thank you, Chief Assistant. Any cross-exam?
Yes, ma'am.
Attorney Turner.
Hey, look how you doing today. You're sharp as always.
I appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Now, you were saying that the interview you had with
This photo is, as far as I understand it, after she she pulls it back. So there, If
Yeah, I think
that's
the end
yeah,
of it.
that's after the pew pew. Let's see if we can do this on 125. Oh, this one.
Miss Payne, that was a couple of hours after the incident, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And there had been a couple of interviews with her with other officers, correct?
Not to my knowledge. Maybe the initial interview with the uniform officer, but typically it's not something that more in detailed interview on the roadside is not something that's typical.
So it wasn't typical for them to do an interview like that, or?
To my knowledge, it's not I do not recall them having a detailed interview on the side of the road with her.
Okay, but when you did your investigation, you saw with the officer put her in the back of the car, walked up with the pad, started asking her what happened, correct?
No.
So you never went back and
People
witnessed
from-
that video that your officer had where he was interviewing?
Yeah, so it's been a while. And according to my recollection, Hannah Payne was not in the back of a car. She was out. She was standing with an officer.
Nope.
And then
We saw it yesterday.
and that's when we was informed that officer to go ahead and detain her to transport her to our headquarters for interview.
So according to your recollection, they got her, they detained her, put her in a car, straight to the precinct.
Correct.
Okay. And she sat at the precinct for a long time, correct?
Yes, she was there for a while.
Okay. And her phone was taken away from her, correct?
Correct.
Was she ever asking to speak to her parents or call her parents and let them know that she's okay?
At one point she did ask.
Okay. And did you allow her to call her parents to say, hey, I'm okay? The last time they talked, it's kind of crazy.
At that point, I informed her that her parents was already there.
Parents were at the precinct.
Correct.
Okay.
Can we approach, please? Yes, you may.
That's fast.
We're getting too close to ruining her case.
Yeah, but he lied or didn't tell the truth because we saw the video yesterday. She was interviewed in the car at the scene.
Yeah. And they were handcuffing her pretty much, after they looked at that guy, they pretty much handcuffed her right away.
Well, Brandon, it happens.
She was 21 at the time, Chris, and she's 25 now.
Yeah.
Because 4 years ago.
Yeah, it seemed like a strange place to have an objection.
Uh-huh.
Where you're dealing with. So we're back where she'd asked to use her phone to talk to her parents, correct? She
No,
basically just
said he watched the video.
Correct.
Okay. And then it was roughly, I counted about an hour, 22 minutes before that she sat in the room, just sitting there, kind of putting her head down. I don't think we got to see the whole thing, but it was just, just her in a room by herself, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, you and Detective Moore came in there and started asking questions. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Okay. And in these questions, how long have you been a detective there at Clayton County?
For 3 years.
Okay. And did you have any other training as a detective before that?
Just basic law enforcement uniform.
Okay. And basically, as a detective, they teach you different strategies and techniques on how to interview people.
Correct.
And it's different than they would a law enforcement that's on the street, correct?
Not necessarily, no, sir.
Did you take any different classes to assist you in the ability to interview?
No, I did not take an additional interview and interrogation courses.
Okay. And have you ever had an occasion where you're dealing with somebody and say they cut you off or won't listen to you or try to end your sentences?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And how did that make you feel? Frustrated?
It can be frustrating.
So, and in this interview, a lot of times you're asking Ms. Payne some questions, and it appears you did not let her finish her sentence, or you're trying to finish it for her. Did you see that in the interview?
No, sir. What I did recognize is that I allowed Detective Moore to ask all the questions initially, and I was just asking follow-up questions to get more detailed information.
All right. Do you recall asking her, so did the door open, or did you see the door open? She says, I didn't see the door open, but your next question said, now that the door is opening. Do you recall seeing that on the video, or do you recall saying that?
No, sir.
Okay. Why were you harping on the door?
And I was just interested in regards to the positioning of the incident, whether it took place inside of the vehicle or whether it took place outside, because But it's just with the initial conversation with the uniform officers, it was supposedly that there was a physical altercation with Ms. Payne inside of the vehicle striking Mr. Herring.
So you did talk to some of the officers that were on the scene, correct?
Yes, to gain initial information.
And none of them said that the officer took her in the back of the car and interviewed her?
No.
Okay. Now, as I was writing it down, it appeared she was telling about he was reaching for something to open the door, or trying to open the door. She couldn't really tell, but she heard kind of grabbing at the panel on the inside. She didn't say panel, but at the door.
Correct.
Did you try to open the door when you got on the scene?
I can't recall if I tried to open the door, but I doubt it.
Okay. Did you hear that anybody could get the door open?
I can't recall, honestly speaking.
Do you recall Officer Ritchie
Okay.
saying that he had to go around to get into the vehicle because the door on the driver's side would not open?
Okay. I don't recall that, no.
Do you recall anybody else mentioning the door?
Yes.
Or do you recall how much damage was on the truck?
Oh, the vehicle had extensive damage, yes.
And could that damage cause that door to have not opened?
There's a possibility, yes. Yes, sir.
And so there's a possibility because the damage occurred prior to the encounter with Miss Payne, correct?
Right, with the accident.
So it's a possibility that door could not open.
Correct.
And you stated there, she started talking to you initially and stated that basically she was on the phone with the police or 911, and she'd been told by an officer to go get the tag. Do you recall hearing that in your interview?
Repeat that?
Do you recall hearing in your interview that her saying that she was on the phone with 911?
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall hearing that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall hearing her saying that there was an officer at the scene of the first accident?
Oh, yeah, off-duty officer, yes.
Okay. But she called him an officer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall her saying the officer kind of was like, go get the tag?
Yes.
Okay. So from her side, she was telling you that's what was occurring when she went to get the tag, correct?
Okay, yes.
Okay. And then you asked the question, why didn't you stop? She said, well, the person on the phone was kind of like, be safe. So do you remember her saying that she didn't recall them saying, don't chase, but you need to be safe?
No.
Okay. So you don't remember her saying that the individual on the phone from 911 said that she needed to be safe?
I recalled she said that she was on the phone with 911, and I don't recall the fact that the person said just be safe. No.
You need to be safe. We want to make sure you're safe. Something
Okay.
along that
Right,
line.
right.
Okay. I know it's been a while.
Yes.
But we just heard it, and I know you got other things going on. So let's see. Do you recall her stating that she just was walking up to the door, had the phone to show that she had 911 on the call, to talk to the gentleman to tell him to go back to the accident, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it sounds like she's just walking up with the phone trying to say, hey, you need to go back to the accident. She's not walking up there to get aggressive. She's walking up there to tell him to go back to the accident, correct?
That's not what she said to me in regards to just that she was just telling me to go back to the accident in the interview. That's not what I recall from the interview, no.
Okay. At the beginning of the interview,
Mhm.
she did a quick explanation of what's going on.
Right.
You don't recall her saying that I was on the phone with 911 and I walked up the phone to show that I was on the phone with the police or 911
Mhm.
and was telling him he needed to go back to the accident.
Not to hope you go back to the accident. No, I don't recall that part of the interview.
Okay. But you do recall hearing her say that as they were struggling and going back and forth for the gun, that she heard him pull the trigger and it clicked. And that's when they started talking about the safety mechanisms on the gun, correct?
I'm sorry?
When she was testifying or telling you in this interview,
Okay.
she was talking about the position of her hands.
Yes.
A lot of times she would say trigger guard. A lot of times she said trigger. A lot of times she said hand. Do you recall hearing that?
Those times, yes.
Okay. And a couple of times she said trigger, but she came back and corrected herself to say trigger guard. Do you
Correct.
recall? Okay. And do you recall her saying that as they're pulling for this, that his hand got into the trigger and pulled it and it clicked?
So we hit
No,
69.
You don't recall that?
I heard trigger guard.
Giggity.
Okay. You didn't hear on that video where it just said, I heard the gun click. He had his finger in the trigger guard.
No.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, Bill Hammer.
hate to have to play it all back here on, but I believe it was in between. She said 9. I got 11 and 9. Oh, oh, okay. I can use that.
Thank you so much, Arians. We're happy to entertain you, and we're glad to see you. Yeah, play it back. Are they gonna just read it back to him?
Oh. Now, as I'm looking for this, I'll keep trying to move forward. Now, you recall her saying that she saw that the car was stopped, so she pulled in front of the car or the truck.
No, sir.
Do you recall her saying, I honestly don't know if the door opened or not, but I could hear him grabbing at the door handle. Do you recall hearing that?
Yes.
Okay. And
Come on.
Uh-oh.
I don't know why Jody should be on this early today. Is Jamie still mad? Jamie's never mad, only at me.
and you recall her saying not once but a couple of times that she had no intention of ever trying to use her gun.
I don't recall her saying that directly, but she did try to speak towards that. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, if I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
I'm gonna refresh your memory. These are the transcripts of the interview that we just heard. It states Exhibit 41. I don't believe they tendered it. They just used it for refreshing.
Okay.
And I'll just do the same. Do you see in there where it says she had no intention of using it being the gun?
Yes, I see that.
Does that refresh your memory a little bit better? On that person.
Yes, you may. And what feature you prefer?
Bill Hammer, don't say that. All the ladies are mad that he is a little too unbuttoned in church court.
So, refresh your memory. So you do recall her saying she had no intention of using the gun, correct?
Yes, but she was prepared.
Okay. And in that page 2, it kept saying that he kept pulling and pulling. And do you recall Detective Moore on that same page asking, so you pulled around and you stopped in front of him? What happens? So it wasn't like she blocked him in, she stopped in front of him, correct? Do you recall hearing that in there?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's a June
And
or B or something on his lapel.
Did you say a June bug?
Yeah.
Gross. Who would wear a
a lot
June
of times she kept
Oh.
saying that when she got up there, that the victim, the deceased there was asking, who are you? You're nobody. Do you recall hearing that from the testimony?
Yes, sir. Correct.
And she kept saying that he was telling her he had something for you and leaning back, correct?
Yes, that's what Ms. Payne said.
Okay. Now, did you get a chance to look at the contents of that truck?
Yes.
Okay. And was there any kind of items within that truck that could have been used to cause bodily harm to Ms. Payne?
Again, this has been a while. To my record, I would have to probably see like the evidence list, but yes, it was like syringes in there. I do believe like there was a sharp tool that we did submit to evidence just because she stated that that she did see him reaching for something. So I don't think a lot of documents. There was a lot of a lot of things in that truck.
Okay, so as a detective and hearing what she had said in her interview, wouldn't you go back to his vehicle and look around to see if items that could have caused bodily harm and take them in as evidence?
Yes, I believe that was done.
So the knife was taken in as evidence.
Yes, I believe that was done.
Okay, and
I don't think it was.
and I've since exhibit
Jamie totally
23,
agrees with this.
24,
Like Parkinson should be doing that.
26, 30,
Oh my God, that's amazing.
and 30.
Is it a company logo or something since he has that
I think it goes up to 36,
beyond?
correct?
I don't know.
You got 26, 30, and 36. I'm playing to show something. So you can look at those photos right there. Is that, to your knowledge, and I know it's been a while, is that a fair and accurate representation of what you saw in the vehicle?
Correct.
Okay. And as you look at those, do you see anything of interest that would probably be collected or used to investigate to find out what really was going on?
If something had to be of concern, it would be Exhibit 23, the cutting tool.
Okay. And nothing else
Yeah.
in those pictures are of any interest to try to explain what was going on or somebody's behavior?
Jamie is a big QT.
The syringe caps? Is that what it is? No, sir.
There's nothing else in those pictures that were any interest or any value?
Objection.
This is the third time he's asked this question, but this has answered it. We
Oh
should
my
not
God.
ask it.
What are you scared of?
Remember, I asked one time, he talked about a saw. I asked again, he just answered with the caps, and that's it. I didn't ask the third.
Okay,
So-
so I am going to sustain the objection.
Why?
Of course you are. He asked two different questions, but of course, yes, it was asked and answered.
Correct. And then he also answered that there were caps to a syringe, and then he said that was it. And I haven't asked another question since then.
Okay, so he has answered, so if you move on, that's what
All right, you're on.
Whatever. This woman.
Yeah.
What he was identifying.
Okay.
Every single time.
Yeah.
He has had one objection sustained. She has had every single objection sustained.
The minute he
Even
says
now.
something, that's when they jump up, and then the judge is like, "Nope, move on."
Yeah.
It's
He clearly asked two different questions,
Yes.
and she says, asked and answered. How can you rule that? She is, yeah. The B is used to represent Christian vigilance and zeal in acquiring virtue. Maybe that's why he has a B on.
Is that what
This
it is?
judge is. I'm not muted.
What?
Did you say I'm muted?
No, I said, "Is that what it is?" Because you talked about the B. the
Oh,
re-
yeah.
Oh, is that what it is? Anyways,
Yeah, just yeah, the judge is in contempt. Yeah, he got one yesterday. It's close to Christmas. He'll get one. Jamie's muted.
I'm not.
Yeah, it's the DA's job, but she's sustaining everything.
And this was the picture that you stated that there was a saw in, correct?
Correct, cutting tool.
Okay, cutting tool. And you reviewed all of these pictures, correct?
Correct.
A lot of singles.
And upon reviewing all of these, it was your testimony that there wasn't anything besides cutting tool and possibly cats that were of any value.
Correct.
Now, there was a picture shown. Yeah, there was a picture
Yeah,
shown.
she did warn us about this, Judge.
That now hearing the interview and hearing how there was pulling and tussling and a shirt being ripped, the way that arm is pulled out, the way it is depicted in that picture, would that be possibly because the hand was being held and it finally got loose?
That's witness speculate.
He is a detective, an investigator. He investigated the scene. He heard the testimony. I think he can give his opinion of the position of that picture. And from what all he learned in this investigation, he should be able to explain a theory or what he felt was depicted.
So I'm going to sustain the objection. It does call for speculation.
Of course.
All right. Now, when Detective Moore was talking with Hannah Payne, a couple of times, she said she had put her finger and then she stopped. She said, I put my hand on, I don't know what it's called, the trigger. And Detective Moore said, the trigger guard, correct? The circular thing. And she said, yes. Do you recall that?
No.
You don't, if I may refresh your memory. 24.
We just watched the video. Sir.
Well, you could clearly testify
Correct.
that if her finger must have been
So,
on the trigger
a lot of
guard on the
times,
still photos
as
she saw. So
nervous
why
and
can't he
hysteria,
speculate on the other
when
things?
she's stating certain names,
Thank you, Dave, for the super chat. You have no reason to disagree with that statement, correct? Which statement? Every statement the defense makes, he has absolutely a reason to disagree with, it seems. And that earns you a spot on the wall.
Ah,
Calm down, Dave.
a lot of times it needs to be corrected or clarified, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I wish you were here, David.
And you could tell she was scared,
Yeah, he
kind of
has
nervous.
He don't like
Correct.
And that whole time she was sitting there in the
because he
room
sees how
waiting to
much
be
you and
interviewed.
I love each
Did
other.
anybody offer up her any water or
He can
bathroom or
only
anything?
buy you
Yes,
with-
I believe Detective Milanis did when he initially sat her in the interview room.
Thank you.
Okay. And you kept asking and trying to get clarity.
Yeah, I know that's what Dave
That
meant. He could
how
ask
the
the
positioning
other
of the
way,
handling
but he
was on the
tried
gun,
that
correct?
the other day, and she still cut him off.
Correct. Just how everybody's hands were doing.
Okay.
The wall of fame, not your wall. Farrell.
I'll use this just to evidence, if that's okay.
No, I like
Once
it.
again, this is an exhibit. It's not a real gun. Toy plastic gun. It has nothing.
Yeah,
no, it
he's
has
getting,
abilities, it has nothing in it.
He's getting flustered.
Okay. If I may approach her.
You may.
I think he's
All right. According to what you heard Ms. Payne saying in the position of what everything was going on, did you show me the way she said she had the gun in her hand?
What she said she had the gun in her hand?
Okay.
Mhm.
And she said that the individual in the vehicle had grabbed her wrist. Is it fair to say with his left hand grabbed her wrist?
No, grab the gun with the left hand?
Or grabbed gun over wrist?
Wrist.
Is that
Okay.
fair to say?
Yes.
So if he's got it like this, and he's got her shirt here, did she say at one time he let go and came, he grabbed the gun with both her hands?
Yes.
Okay, and as they grab, what is right there at the trigger guard?
Fingers.
Okay, so not just one, but a couple, correct?
Correct.
And it's fair to say hers is on the other side. She said underneath, correct?
Correct.
So she's giving a description and you're clarifying it and asking and going into details of what really happened. And as I initially asked about her stating that as he was pulling on the gun
Yes, try
and
gun.
going back and forth, that the trigger was pulled. Do you recall her saying that?
Yes.
Okay. And it was not pulled by her. Do you recall her saying that he had the gun, a better grip on the gun because she didn't have a good grip on the gun?
No.
Okay. I'll refresh your memory. All right. But you do recall her saying that he had a hold of the trigger and the trigger was pulled. Do you recall that?
In the interview?
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay. I'm going to refresh your memory. It's on page 47.
It's the classic defense dementia. Can't remember anything. Oh,
Okay,
well, yeah. Now you refresh my memory. I remember everything.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
Talks about pulling on the trigger and all that.
But I like this cross. I think it's better than just showing the video. Now he's sitting there reading, and well, she did say that. But Medusa will probably get back up there and yell at him again.
Medusa. Oh, that's a good nickname.
Yeah, she expressed that he had hold of the trigger and the trigger was pulled.
Okay. And earlier I asked also that, do you recall her saying that, that there was a click, like the trigger being pulled?
No, I don't recall the click.
If I may approach. I can refresh your memory here. I know it's been a while, so I'll be over there.
What page are you referencing? I'm trying to cover. What page are you referencing?
23.
Okay.
Hey, Yamaha biker. You are at reading 101 today.
Yes.
Okay, so it was stated in an interview that she said the trigger was pulled and that she heard a click.
She stated that when it first had turned, I heard it click, like the trigger was pulled.
Okay. So, and then at that point, she's saying that the gun is being tried to be pointed back at her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So in a scenario like that, with your experience and knowledge, and training, if somebody's pointing a gun back at somebody and pulls a trigger and you hear it click, would that not be aggravated assault or possibly attempted murder?
Your objection.
Obviously, this witness can't speculate to that. It calls for a legal conclusion, and it's inconsistent with the evidence that's been presented. And we're going to ask this question.
Your Honor, I'm talking to him about his interview he had with Ms. Payne. I'm asking from his experiences, training, and being a detective, that if a situation as described in this interview, and somebody's pointing a gun and it clicks, what charge could be put on the individual? And I think he's well within the scope of his employment, well within the scope of his knowledge to answer.
Your response. Thank you, Mrs. Judge, I think it's assuming it's not a question based on the facts, but it's the facts are that the defendant had the gun. So asking what happens when someone else is using her gun against her, the gun is in her hand. So I think it's asking a speculation that Mr. Harry would ever in this case. But they don't inappropriate question and it's misleading to the jury.
And I'm asking from his interview that he had with Ms. Payne, where he could ask any question he wants. He heard all of this information. I'm asking from this interview what he did. He conducted. If that occurred, what in his training and knowledge and experience he believes that that could be charged or that would have been classified as.
So the question, as you posted, does call for a legal conclusion, and so I am going to sustain the objection.
Okay. Now, you stated that that as you sat there and discussed with Ms. Payne, and after this interview, you had heard her parents were outside, correct? After the interview, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And at that point, you saw me coming into the precinct explaining I was her attorney and that I would like to speak with her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you left the room and you allowed us time to speak, correct?
Correct.
Okay. At any point, did anybody listen to what we were saying in that room? I know there was a lot of officers, a lot of detectives around there.
If there's an objection,
We need to approach for this one.
Whatever. Hi, Yamaha. How are you? I know. I mean, how do you think it's going? I think it's going pretty good. Those are her parents, if you guys didn't know. I do feel bad for everybody involved. It's a crappy situation. I know they do. They definitely look like they could be her grandparents.
Sorry, my brother called.
Oh, it's okay. I just came back in. You weren't here.
What are we doing?
An objection.
Oh,
They went to sidebar.
no. So she sustained it?
No, they approached. So
Yeah, so she should send it.
probably.
All right. So we won't go any further on this one.
Yeah.
Did you
Sustained.
We did.
ever tell Miss Payne during that whole period of time? Let me rephrase. When did you find out that the individual shot had become deceased?
Maybe prior to the interview, because I think that's where Detective Moore responded, and I responded to the incident location.
Okay. And did you ever tell Miss Payne that the individual had passed away?
No.
Dennis, that's
No.
a bold
Right.
man.
And did you see and recall in your interview when you and Detective Moore are talking to Miss Payne, a lot of times you interrupted her?
And
or
we
didn't let
don't
her finish her
judge
sentence?
if they like to do drugs instead of hitting like buttons.
There were moments that I did ask
That's fine.
questions, direct questions, and she was giving me additional information. I was just trying to make sure I gained clarity.
But when you were asking the question, was she still talking at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And generally, when two people are talking at the same time, it's not fair to say that they heard the whole question or heard the whole conversation.
Correct.
So, and it was you and Detective Moore asking questions simultaneously, or sometimes she'd start it and you catch on and come behind it. But there were questions coming rather quickly, correct?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Okay. You don't recall just seeing in that interview where you're talking about the door, just specifically the door, and Detective Moore asked a question and you asked a question and she's trying to explain it. You don't recall seeing that just a few minutes ago?
The concern was the quickly, as if it was like rapid fire questioning. But we were asking questions in the interview, allowing Ms. Payne a chance to respond. I also was asking follow-up questions and giving everybody an opportunity to ask and to respond.
Okay. Now,
Oh, it
you
seems
did ask
quite fast.
that when she pulled in front of Mr.
It wasn't to make fun of the lady in the Christmas suit, but when he said behind the defendant, this was all I could see. So I was wondering, but now I can see the Christmas suit lady back here. Sorry.
I didn't see her. Dang it.
Herring, that you asked, was it like his foot came off the gas or came off the brake and that's why the car moved forward? And she stated that no, it revved up before it took off. Do you recall hearing that?
I do recall her speaking that the vehicle revved.
Okay. And do you recall seeing where the vehicle had made contact with the Jeep?
Yes.
And you did hear her state that it was moving with her, but it stopped when it got to the Jeep?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's good to get in there. Oh, this lady. Yeah, she's a natural.
And you heard her at one point say that she
Because that's
didn't
great,
have a
yeah.
good grip on the gun, that he may have had a better grip on the gun.
I do recall her stating that she did not have a good grip.
Okay. And now you stated that there's only one way to load a chamber when it's been holstered, a gun. Do you recall saying that?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen those holsters now that you just pull it down the pop and it's loaded it?
I'm not familiar with that hosting, no.
Okay. You ever seen those? I've seen on TV the commercials that are promoting that it's kind of a pow loaded and go. You haven't seen those commercials or seen a holster that has that?
No, sir.
Okay. But you did hear that this particular gun had kind of a two safety mechanism, correct?
Correct.
And that would be based for safety, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I heard that you said when you were asked, she didn't have any training, gun training, and you said professional. You meant professional training or professional gun training, or what did you mean when you said that?
Yeah, she expressed it like during the interview, it was like when I said professional, like actually like attending a gunfire safety course. That's what I was asking in regards to like professionally.
All right. So would that be a state certified, or would it be something you would pay that makes it professional, or
Both.
Okay. And so when you go to these gun ranges and they sit you down, you watch a video, and then they tell you a little bit about the gun, that would not be considered gun safety class?
Probably gun safety class for that particular location for the firing range.
But they talk about the safety of the gun, how to hold it.
Yes.
Okay. And throughout this interview, you did hear her say that she had some scratches and some marks on her person.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were they consistent to the story that she was telling you about what happened?
Yes, in regards to grabbing of the shirt.
And of the
When they
wrist?
don't come by
yes.
the experts
And-
last Friday, because I was very
Pictures were not taken until after the
Very
interview,
sure.
after it was brought to their attention that she had some marks. Do you recall when Detective Moore decided to take pictures?
Yes.
When did she decide to take pictures?
I think we requested a photographer after our interview.
Okay. And you asked a specific question of, why would you go after this car? Why would you follow this car to get a tag? And she said that she's a people person. And she was just trying to help out. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Is that a bad thing?
No, sir.
Okay.
and
Now,
what's professional gun training? It's just
When
training
she
you
was
paid for
stating that
or trained as a professional.
he had something for her, that she was nobody and was leaning back, did that kind of spark your curiosity of what could have been happening inside that truck?
Yes.
Okay. And if I'm looking at the pictures and everything else, there wasn't really anything that stuck out to you besides that saw. Did you ever see the knife that was in the truck?
No, sir.
Somebody pressure on.
Yes.
Shamalak got comments on various sites are incredulous as at the suggestion that grabbing and pulling a gun in someone else's hand could cause it to fire. It clearly could if there was one in the chamber. Of course, you have an accidental discharge.
Other knife,
Drug
maybe
for
some dirt.
That's a complete
Right.
scan of all the exhibits.
She was nice enough to put on this and then that and choke out.
What is he going on about?
We don't know why he's not a cop anymore. Haven't heard anything about it. When we believe the parents are this couple.
Yeah.
They've been here every single day.
Someone
Yesterday
said
there was
on TV interviews, so that's how it's like confirmed. So
yeah, and yesterday there was a few more we believe were their family members as well.
Thank you. All right, so If I can bring to your attention defense exhibit number 25. You stated that looking through the truck, the content, that you never saw that die.
Yes.
Yes, you did see it, or yes, you didn't see it.
In regards, yes, I did not see this in the photos that you presented, but yes, I think that's the cutting tool that we submitted to evidence.
Okay. And did they ever get tested for any fingerprints or DNA?
Not to my recollection, I'm not sure.
And did the trigger of the gun ever get submitted for DNA or fingerprinting?
I'm not sure if that did happen for DNA.
Based on the testimony of whose finger was on the trigger or not,
That
did you
was
feel
here
it was
earlier.
necessary to ask to have them do a DNA analysis or fingerprint analysis?
Not necessarily.
So it wasn't any concern of yours to find out whose finger or whose DNA was on the trigger?
There's a possibility that both hands could have been on the firearm, or it could have been just one.
But wouldn't you want to know the answer to that?
Yes, but at that particular time, I'm not sure if that's what was requested during the investigation, and if it was not requested, because I didn't think it was also a determining factor.
And I'm
What?
not trying to put you on the hook for somebody. Did you request a fingerprint or DNA?
I cannot recall specifically, no.
What's a cutting tool? It's everything sharp. Paper cut. I don't know.
Now, numerous times in her interview, she kept relaying that she was telling him to stop, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And she stated that, that basically, they were both kind of scuffling back and forth. He was hitting her, she was trying to hit him. Do you recall if there were any visible bruises or any kind of cuts on Mr. Herring's face, body, arms?
No, sir. Not to my recollection, I don't even think I even viewed Mr. Herring because he was already at the hospital.
Okay. Did you ever get a chance to review the pictures of Mr. Herring?
No, sir. Not to my recollection.
Did you ever get to review the autopsy?
No, sir.
Now, as you were standing at the site, I noticed at one point you look up and you look at a camera. Do you recall that? Like, the roads have cameras all up and down it.
No, sir. I don't recall looking at a camera.
Okay. Do you recall if there were any cameras around that area?
Maybe traffic cameras on the traffic lights, but they're not for recordings.
Okay. So, defense exhibit number 4. Did you look at all these poles and everything around that roadside? Does that appear to be cameras?
It's been like that all the way through court, and
No,
it's
sir, not to me.
so annoying to watch.
I may have a better picture here.
But I
Alright,
think, as I wrote to someone in my comments today, I think it's because she knows the judge, so she knows she wouldn't be admonished.
This time, but I am going to have to give a short week. And so it's,
I just have one more question. But it's up to the court.
all right, go ahead.
Okay.
One more question.
All right.
I'm going to give them a break.
Is this a better picture where you can see an extension
What?
of something that's coming out? And from your experience of being on the road and seeing, the cameras and the flock cameras they use on the road, is that fair to say that that appears to be a camera?
No, sir.
If I may.
But it's not 12 o'clock yet. Or maybe she was just asking how much she needed to go.
And extensions off these right here, those poles, here, and here. You're saying that those are not cameras, that you can't decide from that photo that those are cameras?
To me, they do not appear to be cameras.
And you're familiar with that road?
Yes, sir. Riverdale Road.
That was 24th Parkway.
Okay.
And have you ever seen any cameras on that road before?
No, sir. Not to any of my recollection.
No further questions?
Okay, thank you. At this time, I am going to give it back to It is now 11:40. I just asked you to be back at 12, and we will see at that time.
So back in 20 minutes. Did she say they should be back at 12?
He's on the road. Is that fair to say that that appears to be a camera?
No, sir.
What did I do now? I want to hear what she said.
Here. All right. And here. You're saying that those are not cameras, that you can't decide from that photo that those are cameras.
To me, they do not appear to be cameras.
And you're familiar with that road?
Yes, sir. Go with that road.
That is 24th Parkway.
Okay.
And have you ever seen any cameras on that road before?
No, sir. Not to any of my recollection.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I am going to give you tracking rate. It is now 11:40. I just asked you to be back at 12, and we will see at that time.
That's weird. Back at 12.
Are they going
She
break?
normally, she's not. Yeah, she gave them a bathroom break at 11:40 and told them to be back at 12. She normally puts them at lunch at 12.
I don't know. Maybe she wants to push
That's
through.
weird. I don't. Why didn't she just send them to lunch? Because I think they were finished with this witness now. So, yeah.
I don't know.
Didn't he say he only had one more question?
I didn't hear.
I think the judge needed the bathroom more than the jury, but she could still just give them an early lunch and say, be back at 1. It's weird that they had to go back. Well, one of them is a garden implement. But it's, yeah, well, maybe the state needs to do some redirect. Just remember, you can't ask questions in the redirect. Well, I'm not going to sleep now because it's only 6 o'clock my time, but it's just weird because she's been breaking just before noon every day.
Maybe
And
today
give them
knows that it's, and they were late because of a juror. So,
yeah, but still,
because I
why
would
not?
go through and get to a certain point maybe, and then send them free.
Yeah. Yeah, she might be seeking out a bit. Well, they arrested yesterday. This was a rebuttal witness.
Yeah.
You forgot the E. And it's you have a hoe for chopping up stuff. Yeah, and it's Jody time. That's why I was sitting here anxious to throw people over there. But yeah, maybe the jury was falling asleep. Yeah, you have to rest the rebuttal, but I'm thinking, will the state have to? Will they have questions that go back? No, it wasn't that damaging to their case, other than. No, he asked some good questions, but it wasn't. I don't feel like it was damaging to them. I don't want to throw people, Farrell. I want to redirect people. That's why you're on the wall of shame.
It's called redirecting, not throwing.
Yeah, every time it got a little spicy, they objected, and of course the judge said, sustained.
Sustained. Move along.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just a weird. If they were about to rest, yeah, they're coming back at 12. That's why I'm sitting here being what? That's a weird time to come back instead of just going on a lunch break. But
Well, did
Farrell
he?
says they're coming back to rest, and Farrell knows everything.
Yeah. Well, did they finish? Did he finish before they cut him off and went on
He
break?
said he had one more question. So
Are you frozen?
I don't know. Let it go, let it go.
You are.
That's ba.
Did you answer me? Did he
Yeah, I
finish?
answered you. Let you go, let it go.
Not
Yeah,
letting go.
he said, I just have one more question.
And
That's
then
what he said.
break time?
No, yeah, then we had 20 minutes of break before noon. That's why I say it's weird.
Did he get to ask his one last question?
Yeah, if he saw the cameras on the poles, and he said, no, I don't think that was cameras.
And then he was done?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think so. Yeah, the judge is over waiting for Dave to go live with Jody time.
Yeah. The judge didn't want to miss Jody.
No, but that's why I think it's weird. Well, if it's just to bring them back for the state to say we rest, so you can start closings this afternoon. Do it and send them to an early lunch. I see a silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, do you do the fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening.
Hello.
Me. I can't remember Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, how do you not?
Well, I remember. I don't know the lyrics.
That was good. It's pretty good.
Well, thank you so much. Now I just have to work with my voice. Yeah, that was a little turtle. Galileo,
Galileo.
Galileo Figaro. Let me go.
I'm just a.
I'm the poor boy on my poor family, lost in his. What we do for entertainment on this channel. Well, it seemed to imply that that there were cameras there, and but he just didn't know it. But they haven't shown anything during the trial from those cameras. So yeah. Oh, mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let him go. Via, they will pull this out for me, for me, for me.
Oh, now I want to listen to that song.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that, you make me miss him. I go, I wonder what he's up to.
Go to Facebook and check out. He seems like a guy who would still be using Facebook.
I don't know. I don't have a Facebook, so.
Dennis Eden now saying I'm a little teapot. Well, I don't know I'm a little teapot because I've only seen. Isn't there a episode of Bart Simpson where Simpsons where Bart Simpson sings it? I think that's the only time I've ever heard that song.
I'm a
But
little.
thank you so much for the super chat. It's something like I'm a little teapot, round or sprout or something. I don't know. It's not a Danish song.
Stout. Here is my handle. Here is my spout. Come on.
Dennis, I lured Jamie to sing it for you.
No. I knew I cut myself off because I knew where this was going.
Dave, you're supposed to go live right now. I actually sung when I was playing in the Navy band, and I was asked to just mimic singing, not to do it, because I, I'm tone deaf, so I was just way off. So I was standing there at Christmas.
Aw.
That's fine. I don't mind. Excoma, butter and sugar, a delicate dance. In every pastry, love found its chance. Danish delight, a symphony sweet. In every heartbeat, love and flower meet. Oh, how sweet.
Adorable.
Is that a Baker poem? It should be. Thank you so much, Excoma. Spot on the wall from my Norwegian neighbor. Are you waiting for a client call? So you're just peddling it off again.
Yeah, he says Nick and Mo today.
I don't know. I don't know.
Nightmare.
I don't know what she's booing now, but something. Shouldn't she be sleeping at this time?
Is she booing David for not being on the Jody stream?
Well, maybe.
My assumption.
Butter and sugar, a delicate dance. In every pastry, love found its chance. Danish delight, a symphony sweet. In every heartbeat, love and flower me. I like that. Nikki, hey, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle, here is my spout. When I got all steamed up, hear me shout, tip me over and pour me out.
Yay.
I don't drink for money, but apparently I sing for money. I'm just like, I shouldn't say stuff like that.
Oh.
'Cause we have people singing in our streets at Christmas. So, yep, we're still live and they're still late.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here she is. Talk about the judge, Miss Jewel.
This.
She looks 5 pounds lighter.
Okay, before we bring the jurors back in, I want to make everyone aware in the courtroom that it has been brought to my attention that there may have been an attempt to make contact with one of the jurors. I just want to instruct you all that it is not appropriate. I did give those instructions at the beginning of the case. And so no one is to make contact with the jurors. They're here because they're committed to fulfilling their civil duty to sit on this case. And it's not appropriate for anyone to try to make contact with them while they're sitting as jurors on this case. Anyone who tries to do that, part of what I can do is that you will forfeit your right to be in the courtroom among any other measures that the court deems appropriate. So everyone is advised. Thank you. Okay, counsels, are we ready to proceed?
So she knows who's the one contacting the juror.
The judge wants to come in just for timing purposes. We're not going to ask any additional questions and we'll rest.
Okay, so.
Time.
Okay. Thank you.
So they're coming back in to send them out. She was looking at the family, so yeah. We have a totally secluded area. When I do jury duty, we go behind where only people who has access can go. So we can't talk to anyone.
Mhm.
A law and crime is a
Thank you.
little
You may
more
be
educated
seated.
than I am.
Does the state have any redirect for this witness?
She's
Take the
just
time to
at,
consider that. The state has no further questions of this witness, and we would ask that he be excused and be allowed to return to North Carolina.
Yes, you're excused. Yes, you're welcome. Safe travels.
And the state has no further rebuttal and rests.
Okay. Okay, so at this juncture, all the evidence is in, and the court at this point will conduct what is known as our charge conference with counsels in this case. And therefore, it is an appropriate time to allow you to have your lunch break. It's now 12:05. I would instruct you to be back by 1:45 p.m. Again, the instructions that I've previously given still apply. And so you're on break at this time. Have a good lunch, and I'll see you back at 1:45. Thank you. Thank you for adhering to the time frames. Oh, before you go, before everyone goes, let me just apprise you of what's going to occur next. Of course, we will do our charge conference so that we're agreed as to what charges you will be given. And then both the state and defense counsel will be able to give you what is known as closing arguments. And then we will release the case to you at that point. So that's what you can anticipate this afternoon. Have a good lunch.
Yeah, anything you say is a problem. That's why back when I was smoking, if I went outside to smoke at the court, you only had one area you can stand in. And I asked, is that really okay? Because you have the journalist, you have witnesses, you have the defendant standing out there, and I'm standing there as a juror, and no one can talk to me. I said, why can't we get another place to smoke? But then I stopped smoking. So I miss smoking. No, I absolutely do not. YouTube, I never.
Counsels, can we move into our charge conference?
Yes, Judge, I'll be handling the charge conference.
Okay. Attorney Tucker, did you receive that email?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay.
I did receive the state's comments. I'm in full agreement with that. I had an example of a jury charge that I was going to go through and see. I think for the most part, it is in order for those charges to be wondered where to put it.
Okay.
I was going to propose to the court and to the state that from the previous cases, the previous jury charges, this is where I would suggest it goes, and it's a pure suggestion to take it or however the court wants it. I believe the state made the most. I think that it said there's certain highlights on certain things that.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that
Okay,
too.
would it
Yeah.
help to have a printed copy?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it could ruin the case totally.
Okay.
If you just
All
said
right,
good
let me
morning,
arrange
you saw that in which trial was that? Someone just said good
How
morning.
about
That was an
you,
attempt to influence the
Chief
jury.
Assistant,
That's the
do
murder.
you need a printed copy?
I don't want to waste another
Tree?
50 pages. I'm fine.
It shouldn't be, it's not, let's cut that.
It's 52.
They rested. They're just doing the charging conference right now. So that's just what's going to be in the opening. But it doesn't seem like there's any drama going on. So I think, Jamie, you have to have a little break before you go home to second that. Yeah, second, because I'm number one. I'm going to send you all over to Nicholas's Adobe
And
stream.
which charge
And,
was that, Attorney Tucker?
And Your Honor, it's basically the order And I was gonna take it and go through and see if it was placed. I know that it was kind of confusing my phone and looking at her having the pattern charges up. My phone didn't have the pages numbered. So I just put little notes, and I can go to that once I've seen how it is. I saw it briefly last night, looking at it, and I think there was one or two that, and it's purely a preference. I don't think it's something that's,
Yeah, they're just that's just semantics. What all the going to be, and you're going to hear it when they read
you can
the
have that
instructions
copy
at
until they read them.
1:45. They will be covering that.
And,
Thank you all
for
so
those
much
of
for
you
showing
who
up
fought
again
this
today.
is all technical,
Allow
legalese. So, I mean, for
84
those of
likes.
you who are here, you're
The last
certainly
7 who hasn't liked,
welcome
hit it on
to
the way
stay,
out, and
but
Jimmy will
it is
cover those
technical, so
lovely
you
lashes at
can
you.
go for
And
lunch and be back.
have fun with Nick and Dave, and we'll see if it will be finished today or perhaps we'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you all
I'm not
for
saying
the
you
super
have
chat.
to, I'm just saying it's optional.
You'll see Jamie later. Bye.